have to be really careful how I speak tonight. All right. Welcome to the April 21st full board meeting of Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Adem Bria and I'm the chair. This meeting is called to order at 6:43 p.m. Tonight we are joined by District Manager Angel Muscane, Assistant District Manager Khalid Nixon, and Community Associate Marlene Pierre. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. 1, no one may speak until granted the floor. 2, CB11 members, if you have a question or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through Zoom, click the participant's icon and you will find the raise hand function there. You should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. The chat should not be used to discuss or pose questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussion. Members of the public can register to speak in the public session by completing the registration form and providing their name, affiliation, and the topic of their comments. You can register at the sign-in table or via the online registration form. A link to the online registration form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. Registration for public speakers will close at 7:15. We will now take attendance by roll call.
Hello, members. Please listen for your names. Jose Altamirano, Fernando Alvarez, Adem Bria, Marie Charles, thank you, Leslie Colon, Carlos Diaz, thank you, Rosa Diaz is myself, Jessica Elliott, thank you, David Giordano, absent, Ara Gizeri,
Here.
Oh. One second, guys. We're gonna go back to, okay. James Gray, John Green,
Here.
Chancellor Gregg, thank you. Wanda Hopkins, absent. Kyoka Jackson, thank you. Christina Johnson, absent. Joel Jones, thank you. James Kemp, thank you. Sage Mason, absent. Malik McCullough, absent. Jennifer Mayer, absent. Jessica Morris, absent. Nilsa Orama, thank you. Beverly Pabon, thank you. Samantha Pedreiro, thank you. Tanya Phelps, thank you. Valerie Ponte, absent. Asher Rodriguez, thank you. Dawn Sanders, absent. Xavier Santiago, thank you. Janelle Satija, thank you. Russell Schuller, thank you. Loretta So, thank you. Derek Stampone, thank you. Vincent Torres, thank you. Anne-Marie Vasquez, thank you. Jason Villanueva, absent. Candy Vives Vasquez, absent. Nye Whitaker, thank you. Agatha White, absent. Thank you.
Agatha White is here. Sorry. I'm having some issues with on my side.
Camera's off.
You have to
Yep,
turn on
I'm
your
having
camera.
some issue. I'm about to turn on, but I'm here. Thank you. Give me a few minutes.
Okay, she said she needs a few minutes to.
I'm having some technical issue. Can you hear me?
You could just work it out and take care of
Can
it. We're
you?
gonna move the meeting along. Thank you.
Okay, you can hear me, right?
We can hear you. Yeah,
Okay, great. Thanks.
you're welcome. All right, we'll let them figure that out on the side and we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and was posted on the website's meeting calendar. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Board members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay, seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. We'll now move to the public speakers portion of the meeting. A few ground rules for those wishing to speak. You, one, must sign up to speak, providing your name and affiliation. You will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. You should address your testimony to the board, not to the public. You should speak clearly and into the microphone. You should be prepared to respond to board members' questions in order to clarify facts and opinions presented in your comments. Board members should only ask clarifying questions. Commentary will not be entertained. We will now hear from our registered speakers. I will start with those who signed up online. Do we have Dr. Dominique Rowe from Move to Motivate LLC? If you're here, you can raise your hand and come up and we'll hand you the mic. Does anyone have their hand up online? No? Okay. We'll see. We'll circle back and see if they come later. Next, we will move to Leon Tolton from Real Dads Network. How are you? Yes. Mic over.
Hi. Do I face you guys or face the audience? Okay, thanks. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leon Tolton. I'm a member of Real Dads Network. Real Dads Network is a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting fathers and families in our community. I'd like to start with a question. If you were faced with an emergency, would you know what to do? What would you do during a blackout? Or more recently, during a blizzard like this past February that impacted on so many New Yorkers. Real Dad Network wants to help you to be ready. This Saturday, April 25th, from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., we will be hosting an emergency preparedness community presentation. Yeah, there's an echo. Okay. Hello? Okay, thank you. Okay, so this Saturday, April 25th, from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., we will be hosting an emergency preparedness community presentation to help residents learn how to prepare for different types of emergencies. This event will also highlight our partnership with New York City Emergency Management and the work we've been doing to help strengthen community preparedness. We are also inviting community-based organizations, elected officials, and faith-based groups to join us as partners in this effort. This event will take place at the Real Dads Network Fatherhood and Family Center located at 1445 Madison Avenue in the Carver Houses complex. Light refreshments will be served, and we invite you to join us this Saturday and to take an important step towards being prepared. Let's be prepared, East Harlem. Thank you. One last thing. I shared the flyers with the community board, so the community board will also be able to share the information as well. Yes, sir. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just quick question. Who's doing the presentation? Is it New York State with the National Guard, or is it New York City Emergency Management?
So the presenters will be Real Dads Network, or more specifically myself. So we will be the ones doing the presentation. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Again, thank you so much for your time and have a good evening, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Get my steps in. Okay, we will now go to the Sorry. Lexington Third Block Association. Brenda, how are you? Let me get you the mic. You have 3 minutes, then you could see if they have questions, so I don't have to keep going.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brenda. I'm with the Lexington Third Block Association, also known as L3BA. I'm here to formally reintroduce us. Some of you may know us. I am a co-founder and the project director. First, allow me to say that while I am a representative of the Lexington Third Block Association, my personal views are my own and may not reflect the views of the Block Association. That said, the Lexington Third Block Association is composed of individuals. We welcome all. We are all inclusive. We are nonpartisan. We respect our differences. We focus on what we have in common, which is wanting our neighborhood to be clean, safe, and prosperous. We do regular cleanup events. It's one of our 3 pillars. Our 3 pillars are keeping the neighborhood clean, supporting local businesses, and being a liaison to our elected representatives. We are an informal community group, not a nonprofit. It was very important to myself and Brian, the co-founder, that we remain pressure-free. We didn't want to have a lot of administrative responsibilities for the group. We are here to be a support system. When people have time to participate, we welcome it. When people are busy, that's fine too. I made the commitment to be the consistent presence as the project director so that we can have consistency while still offering a pressure-free community group. Our target area for cleaning is 96th Street to 104th Street between Lex and 3rd Avenue. We picked that target area because thinking of cleaning the whole neighborhood is overwhelming. It seems unattainable. But we figured if we pick a target area, in about 5 years or so, we can reach a plateau of consistent cleanliness that can be an inspiration to show that it can be done. And that inspiration can spread to the other blocks. Because just because we live in a big city, that doesn't mean that our blocks have to be dirty. That's a fallacy. We can make it happen. We can have clean blocks and we can make it happen together. Speaking of togetherness, we invite you to join us for our Earth Day Street Tree Care event tomorrow from 3 to 5 p.m. We're meeting at Gigi's Playhouse, 1834 3rd Avenue. That's off 102nd Street. All the information is on our website, l3banyc.org. We encourage you to sign up, but you could just show up. All the street tree care supplies will be provided. Thank you for your time. Happy Earth Day. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well, thank you so much. I actually have to get back to my dog, but I will watch the end of the meeting on YouTube. And I also would like to close in saying thank you so much for putting the meetings on YouTube. And thank you so much for doing the hybrid Zooms. It's very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Jose. Thank you. Oh, this makes better. Next up, we have Dr. Adam Aponte from East Harlem Council for Human Services. He's present. Okay, I don't see anyone online. All right, we'll move to the next person. Trevor N. Alexander Jr. from Child Support Services for New Hires. He's online. Trevor, you can unmute yourself. You have 3 minutes. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Trevor Alexander from Child Support Services, and I just see a flurry of economic opportunity happening in East Harlem. Tremendous job opportunities posted all in the lobbies of the public housing. I just wanted to remind the community that child support is here to help with those the new employees to make sure that any child support arrears that we can delete and because we find that anytime a child goes on cash or Medicaid in New York City, it triggers a child support case.
Trevor,
Hey,
Trevor.
yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, I'm only interrupting you because the acoustics and audio aren't great in here. If you could just speak a little bit slower, I think it might
Okay.
be a little bit easier.
Sure. Yes, I guess, I'm sorry, I'm Trevor from Child Support Services, and I just want to remind the community that Child Support Services is here trying to help every new father in the community that starts working to have the best possible scenario. There's a lot of arrears of child support that can be deleted or forgiven if they approach us so we can research the case and find that they were in poverty while their child was in poverty. We can delete those arrears. So I wanted to delete my contact information in the chat, but I couldn't. So I want to verbally give my number. Is that and information? Is that something that I should do, or is the chat open to deposit information in? That's a question to the board. Is there can I drop a chat in, or should I just extend my number to you so you can and anyone that has questions about child support and how we can make sure the new hires have the best scenario for them and their families? My number is 646-916-0915. 646-916-0915. Thank you for this opportunity to remind the community of how we support the fathers of East Harlem.
Oh, okay, thank you. It's not your fault. It was definitely hard to hear any of that. So I'm hoping that the YouTube recording that goes up may have better audio than this. But Trevor, and to anyone else that's presenting remotely, if possible, you don't have to send like a full summary of what you just said, but maybe like kind of an overview of what you talked about, and that way we could distribute it to the board to make sure that everybody clearly understood what you were presenting.
Okay.
With that said,
Thank
I'm
you.
assuming there aren't, but are there any questions? Okay, all right then, Trevor, thank you. I'm sorry
you.
about
Bye-bye.
that.
Mhm.
Next up, we have Thomas Acosta. Oh, you have a microphone? Okay.
Let's try something a little differently because I can't hear from the echoes, and I assume some of you have the same problem. Okay, I don't need this. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've walked.
Use the mic. You have to for people online.
Question.
You have to use.
For the last 4 or 5 years,
Sir, you have to
I've
use the
walked
mic.
across.
You have to use the microphone.
Oh, you have to use it?
Yes.
Just do your best, thank
For
you.
the last 4 or 5 years, I've walked across 110th Street and seen the public library that I used as a kid when I was at PS 168, 171, 72, junior high school 13. And I spent multiple days a week in that library. And I remember this, aside from the student population, the next largest population using that library was senior citizens. So for the first 2 or 3 years of that 5-year span, I looked forward to the opening of this, renovated library with great anticipation. But for the last 2 years, I've walked by with disgust. Disgust that it's taken all this time to renovate that library. I've asked politicians, I've asked longtime residents, I've spoken to the kids to see how they feel about it. And there are very few answers as to who's responsible, who's funding it, what's the timeline for completion. I think it's an outrage in a district where public school education has some of the lowest outcomes in the city, that the kids don't have an access to their own community library. Most of the kids I talk to tell me they go to 96th Street, they go to 125th, some go to 106th Street between Columbus and Amsterdam. I think it's a shame, and I've not spoken to anyone, people who are presumably very knowledgeable, who can tell you what's going on and why it hasn't been completed. So I was hoping that the board would have some insight into what's going on, who's responsible for the construction, what is the state of the funding for it, and what's the prognosis for it opening sometime in the near future.
I think we'll have to get, like I spoke to in the beginning, we'll have to get the information, talk to the libraries, and get them to come and give a report. We know these kind of constructions take a long time, as did 125th, which opened last year, which looks glorious. It's the same thing I told you earlier. We're gonna get the information so that we can get back to you. But do we have your contact? We have your contact, right? Perfect. Kyoka? No, but there's no mic down there. Yeah. So what Kyoka said, because everyone has to be on the mic, because otherwise everyone online can't hear you, is that that building had structural damage, had water damage. It was significantly more extensive than 125th Street. I know, but well, it's not an excuse, it's a reason.
Okay, all right. We will now, I think, Dr. Aponte is now online. So you are recognized. You have 3 minutes to speak. Please try to speak as slow and clearly as possible.
Good evening, board. I'm sorry I can't be there in person. I apologize for my initial call out. So I'm Dr. Adam Aponte. I'm the CEO for the East Harlem Council for Human Services. Most of you know the Borinquen Neighborhood Health Center on 123rd and 3rd. Happy to join this evening. So I just wanted to give some updates to this board about what we're going on at the health center, particularly related to a DRI proposal that we submitted that this board graciously supported. So first, I'll just talk about some things happening at the health center. We have some expansions of services at the health center to increase access to some specialties. We're bringing back podiatry, expanding our cardiology services. So that's great news. Related to the DRI, for those of you who don't know what that means, that's the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. We were granted $1.55 million through that project, and that money was to be used to expand dental services and to create a new teleconferencing center in the health center. So I'm happy to report that after a couple of years, unfortunately, it took a little while to get this all squared away. We have broke ground as of last week. And so we will be further expanding our dental services at the health center. For those of you who know, we have a pretty large dental service already. We see a lot of patients there, open 6 days a week with 10 examination rooms, or operatories as we call them. We're going to expand and bring on 2 additional operatories, further expanding dental services with a particular focus around pediatric dentistry. That's a big need in our community, and we are planning to get a pediatric dentist and perhaps at some time in the near future, provide children with the opportunity to get braces at our health center. Again, something that is really hard to find in our community. And then on our lower level, we're going to create a state-of-the-art teleconferencing center that will be used as a meeting space for the public, and also space for the health center as well. So we're really happy to report that, after a while in negotiations, we're breaking ground on those initiatives and further expanding services to East Harlem and the community. I'll close out by also discussing a partnership that we're developing. Many of you may not be aware, but there are actually 6 federally qualified health centers, FQHCs, in East Harlem. Ourselves, Settlement Health, Housing Works, Institute for Family Health, Damien, and VIP Service. These 6 health centers are now starting to work together as a partnership to improve access to patients and really make sure that wherever a patient needs services, we're going to facilitate and collaborate to provide those services and not compete, but collaborate. And that's a big need for our community. Siloed approach to healthcare delivery is long done and over with, and we want to really make sure that we're working in partnership to expand access to healthcare in the community. I'm at 10 seconds, so I'm going to pause and make sure I don't go over time with respect to your time. But thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to share some exciting news that's happening at the health center, and I welcome any questions regarding the project.
You hear me? Yeah, okay. All right, Dr. Ponte, thank you. I think we may have the same issue with the previous speaker. It was hard to hear a lot of what you said, just due to the audio here. Are there any questions? All right, I ask that you also just submit a brief summary of what you spoke about via email to myself and our district manager, and we will circulate that with the board. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm sorry you couldn't hear me well, but
No, sorry about that as well. Thank you. We're going to now move to our next speaker, Vincent Jenkins. Okay. Okay.
Yes. So, hello, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen of New York City, the New York Board, I am running for State Senate. I know the rules don't permit to talk about it, but I want to talk about specific business as it relates to housing. So I know many of you have heard that a lot of people have been complaining about housing becoming so expensive and the high taxes to tax the rich. And I ask for, understanding, but I don't want to talk a lot about what this is about. What I want to talk about is that people are often supporting other people and their objections to rent becoming so expensive. And I believe, that's wrong. And so we have a long way to go to solve that issue. And it's not going to be easy whatsoever, but I stand for everyone in East Harlem. And I'm not focused just on East Harlem, but also on the Lower East Side. So that's the area that I'm focused on. And we're focused on the Black community where I live, and I support everyone in East Harlem for sure, so that this community and all your voices are heard. So I'm working here in Tanya Towers as a community president and collaborator here in this space, responsible for here, and also running for state senate. If you want to ask any questions about my work experience, you can ask me via email, and I'm happy to share any information that you are requesting. And so again, my name is Vincent Jenkins, and my email is vincentjenkins56@gmail.com, and my phone number is 646-553-4338. And I'm looking to have a very productive conversation with you via email. If anyone wants to talk with me, I'm always here to listen. And I'm happy to give you any responses to your feedback. So again, it's Jenkins Vincent 56@gmail.com. And I support East Harlem 100% for sure. And this will be a historical moment to improve the rent issue here in our community. Thank you for your attention and have a good evening. You can contact me at any time, and I'm here to listen to you, and God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions for Mr. Jenkins? All right, seeing no questions, we will, Agata, you have your hand up. I'm not sure.
I have a question. How can I help the board? I have questions about how I can support, related to this housing issue. If you can get in touch with me, anyone on the board, with any messages about that.
So we have his email information, so I'd be happy to reach out myself directly and discuss ways that he could collaborate with the board. We're always looking for that, so very grateful and looking forward to that.
Adam,
Yes,
is
and
it
then
your-
one thing.
I'll recognize you in a second.
So yeah, it is a serious. I'm a serious candidate to help the people, and I want to be, that to be known. Just because I'm deaf or hard of hearing, I am still a serious candidate, and I'm ready to do the work that's needed and overcome the challenge that this community face on this housing issue.
Okay, thank you. Agata, you're recognized.
No, just an FYI that we can hear everyone clearly because you're saying you couldn't hear people enough in over there with the audio, but for YouTube, it's going to be clear. Just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, thank you. I was hoping that would be the case, so that'll be good for anyone who wants to watch the meetings. I hope you will see, I don't know how easy to read, but we did put up the transcript if you're able to read it, or if you want to log into your devices, you can show captions, so that might be helpful. It is accurately, I believe, transcribing what we're saying, even though the audio is bad. Okay, we're going to move, well, actually, that's an elected representative, so I will move to Aisha Seka from Gun Violence. You recognize? Oh,
Peace and blessings, family. I'm Dr. Aisha Sekou, and I'm the CEO and founder of Street Corner Resources. And I'm proud to stand here and say that my organization has been doing on the West Side a very good job of helping to reduce gun and gang violence. I happen to come to this meeting to support my board chair, which is James CB Gray, right here. And while we operate mainly on the West Side right now, when we get the call to come to the East Side, we show up. So I just wanted to make sure I said something about the kind of violence that we're seeing all across the country. How many people are witnessing violence on the internet? We had a kid who did a live execution, 15 years old. And so I can't show up here and not say something. So one of the things is when parents don't know what to do, talk to the kid, the young person, whatever you want to call them, in your house. It starts in your house because the behavior that you see begins, and if you don't pay attention, before you know it, it comes from small to big. They start hanging out with different people, listening to different music, particularly drill. Drill music, in case you don't know, is a call to action in music to kill. So you have to listen to it when you get a chance. Doesn't have to be tonight, but go and listen to drill music. And just so, and then listen for the words and see if you can find the words. The other thing is that young people are having a hard time, and they're being given a hard time about having a hard time, which is usually a mental health issue. Maybe they're being bullied, maybe they don't have the right clothes, maybe there's a breakup in the household, and then you see the difference in their grades, the grades decline. And so you have to pay attention to those things. Those things are major signals something is wrong. You can always ask for help. I didn't prepare to come to this meeting, but I came. And I'll give you my information. You can find me on Instagram at Street Corner Res. You can leave me a message if you need help. James CB Gray is my chair. You can contact him. And we do workshops in public schools. We just did, one of the things that concerned me, we just did a workshop yesterday, PD, professional development, with paras and teachers. And the main concern was behavior. And there were teachers saying, I can't take it anymore, and sounding very full. So what it says to me is that our teachers need help, our parents need help, and most of all, our young people need help. So I'm not going to go past the time. I think my time is just about up. But again, I'm Dr. Aisha Sekou. If you would like for me to come and share more about what you can do, then you let me know when and where, or you can let James CB Gray. Again, I'm Dr. Aisha Sekou. I'm the CEO and founder of Street Corner Resources, and we do anti-violence work.
Thank you, Aisha. I think definitely it'd be great to have you come back. I think at least one place that would make sense, especially is a Youth and Education Committee. So Asher is our chair. His hand is up, so he might have a question, and then you can also. Oh, okay, great. Okay, yeah, that would be a good point of contact to start with to perhaps set up a presentation for upcoming committee meeting. Nai, you had your hand up?
It didn't sound.
Hello, beautiful sister. I was just going to ask, can you share with the group the open mic and the other activities that you do in your space that are very inviting and supportive of our young people?
Thank you, Nye. So at Street Corner Resources, we pride ourselves while we deal with the issue of violence, we pride ourselves with prevention. And what prevention looks like is we have a music studio where young people can create beats and lyrics that are positive. There's no negative, no killing, no coming against someone because of their gender or their choices. The music is good, clean music. We also get an opportunity to talk to them about where they are and what's going on. We have a boxing team. So I coined about 8 years ago an expression called creative aggression. And it's a way to creatively use up the energy that they go home with. So before they go home, they box, they work out, they run. And by the time they get home, parents call us and they say, what are y'all what are y'all doing with my kid? Because they come home and they go to sleep. You know, they take a shower, eat, go to sleep, which is what we want. The other thing is we have a gardening group. We also have a girls empowerment group where girls talk about issues because I'm not sure if you know, girls are filling the prison at a faster rate than young men. And they're doing things to get the attention of the boys, like carrying guns. And don't say not my kid, because you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. So then we have a whole host of other things. We just started an AI class. We take our young people on retreats. We bring in, like you did, Tiffany. Tiffany Brown brought in the chief and other people to speak to our young people. And to talk with us about our work. So we also do a lot of work with funding from the DA's office. So during the summer, young people are exposed to a plethora of speakers and activities. We're getting ready to go upstate and ride horses again. And so those are some of the things that we do. And young people are always involved. We have a children's village. Oh, the Peace Cafe, that's right. The last Friday of every month, we have a mic called the Peace Cafe. And you all are welcome to come. It's free. And the good thing is you don't have to dress up. I love that part. Anyway, peace and blessings.
Thank you so much. Jose, grab the mic. Thank you. Okay, next we're going to move to Marcieli Alvarado from We Act. Is she online? Oh, sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marcieli Alvarado. I'm a community organizer from We Act for Environmental Justice. I wanted to invite everyone. We're having a youth fair, career fair on May 2nd from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Forum. It will be in collaboration with Align and Make Justice Normal. And I also wanted to invite you guys to our membership meeting, which will be on May 16th, I'm sorry, at 10 a.m. For all information, please go to weact.org/events. Thank you.
We have any questions? Okay, thank you. Did anyone else sign up that I missed? Nope. All right, so that'll conclude the public speaker session of this evening's meeting. We will now move to our elected officials reports. Just again, to be clear, this is strictly for the elected officials. If you are a representative of the elected official, you will have a chance to speak after we conduct our new business. So we ask that our elected officials complete the registration form. And if they wish to give a report, a link to the form has been shared in the chat. The link is also accessible from the meeting agenda. I'm not going to go through the rest of this. I see Tamika Mapp, District Leader, has signed up to speak. Come up, grab the mic from Jose, and you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, guys. It's Tamika Mapp, your district leader for Part D. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of standing with the Women's Workers Fund to end the 24-hour workday. So if you can, please call Speaker Menon at 212-788-7210 because our home care workers are working 24 hours and it should be against the law. Next, I'm asking you to call your state assembly member to back Assemblymember Kellis' bill, which is A9295 for the generally recognized as safe gross loophole. This is for transparency of what we have in our food supply and making sure that we know what we're eating. Training, I am also with the Undocumented Women's Fund. We're looking for parents, educators, community members ready to take an active role in protecting our immigrant families. We try to be proactive instead of reactionary. We have training this Saturday from 10 to 2:30, and we're asking everybody to sign up because we're trying to create care circles inside of our schools. Lunch and childcare is provided. Last but not least, we have, my club is doing Index Universal Life Insurance because I believe that every parent should know life insurance policies to be able to protect them. Following that, we have 4 Congress people coming for New York 13. That is confirmed. So whoever is on the ballot, we have Doraliza is on the ballot, or Congressman Espaillat is going to be there. Theo Chio is going to be there, and Oscar is going to be there. To sign up, you have to go to my club's website, ehcfgg.info. And that's it. Any questions? Yes, Nye. You're welcome.
Hey, everybody. I just had a question as to whether or not you or anybody else here from the electeds are supporting, I'm going to just name the bill. It's S-440 in the Senate and Assembly 2121, which is the DDA. It's Democracy During Detention, and it's a bill to allow people who are going through the process of the criminal justice system but not marked guilty to be able to vote in jails and prisons. And I just didn't know if you were doing anything to support that.
Yes, I am. So I was in Albany over this weekend at Somos. I missed half of your guys there, but we had a great conversation with our electeds. I ended up talking to a lot of them, and then I'm going to do some letter writing campaigns. We're going to be doing some phone calls. So if anybody wants to work, you can just join the club because that's where all the real work takes place, ehcfgg.info. We meet twice a month, and we break out in different working groups and having actually people in the community dive into what they want. I'm on everything. So yes, I have that on my back pocket.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Angel, do we have any other electeds? Well, that's disappointing. But with that said, we will move to our borough president's report. Porfirio, Jose will give you the mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Porfirio Figueroa. I'm the Deputy Director of Community Affairs for the Manhattan Borough President, Brad Hoylman-Siegel. And the Borough President agrees that Governor Hochul is right to advance a pay-the-tear tax on ultra-luxury second homes in New York City, because this is about fairness, because the global super rich use Manhattan real estate to park their wealth, leaving these units vacant, yet benefit from the safety, stability, and services that make New York a safe place to invest. If they can afford a $5 million second home, they should appropriately contribute to the subways, schools, and public services that protect and sustain New York City investments. We closed New York Women's History Month by hosting Making Manhattan with New York City women-owned businesses, featuring inspiring women entrepreneurs who are building and strengthening our local economy. The Manhattan Borough President submitted his response to the mayor's FW27 preliminary budget, urging the state to take action to support New York City during the fiscal crunch, to include reversing billions in cost shifts. Our office is in the final review of community board applications for the appointments, and we are working with good government groups to strengthen transparency and independence in the process. An announcement should come in May. Earlier this month, we co-sponsored a youth summer resource fair in Harlem, connecting Manhattan youth and their families to opportunities for summer camps, jobs, and other programs. The Manhattan Borough President testified at the Gateway Development Commission on the economic importance of this project. It is one of the most important infrastructure projects in the country, expected to create over 95,000 jobs and generate 19.6 billion in regional economic activity across New York City, the Northeast, and beyond. The growth of our regional and national economic depends on the completion of the Gateway, and he plans to continue to fight until this project is completed. He joined Mayor Mondani, DCAS Commissioner Yum Kitasi, to announce the city's first free on-site children pilot program for city workers. Applications will open on April 30th. This is a brand new 4,000 square foot childcare facility at the David Dinkins Building, which will serve approximately 40 children aged 6 to 3 and offer evidence-based development appropriate curriculum designed to support early childhood learning, socialization, and child growth. Our office participated in the CB9 District Health Fair last week, where we provided resources to our neighbors to continue improving their community health. This is very important. The Manhattan Borough President has been hosting, and we just had the second convening of Manhattan elected officials and immigrant advocates to focus on concrete preparations as federal immigration enforcement continues to upend daily life in New York communities. So they discussed including strengthening rapid response protocols, expanding access to legal representation, and addressing the direct threat to immigrant families in NYCHA and Section 8 housing. We opposed a proposed HUD rule which would terminate assistance for tens of thousands of mixed status households. Lastly, our office is excited to relaunch our volunteer corps, and you're welcome to sign up on our website, which is www.manhattanbp.nyc.gov. And I want to take a moment to congratulate CB11 because Mayor Mandami and the Economic Development Corporation announced that La Marqueta will be the first site for the city's municipal grocery store program. Not only will it ensure families in East Harlem have access to affordable fresh food, but it will also honor the multicultural traditions of the historic La Marqueta. Any questions? Go for it.
You gotta come up to the mic or meet you halfway.
I don't have details about it, but I could get them for you, but ask the question.
So the question is, the $30 million that is going to be proposed inside of that, is that coming from the 50 million from the EDC that was supposed to fix up La Marqueta? Or is this separate 30 million?
To my knowledge, that is separate, but I can get you a concrete answer on that. You have my email. Anyone else? Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you for being here as always. Okay, we will move to the business session of this evening's meeting. So we're going to go to the adoption of the board minutes. The minutes from the last full board meeting were distributed ahead of time by the board office. If there is no objection, we will adopt the minutes from that meeting. Board members, if you object to adopting the minutes, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay, seeing no objections, the minutes from the last full board meeting are adopted. They will soon be available on the CB11 website. We will now move to the chair report. So I wrote a very detailed report. A lot of it is just about the events that I've attended this month. I'm not going to go into any of those. You can read about it. I will just highlight the East Harlem Little League and throwing out the first pitch and at Jefferson Park. Kioka, thank you so much. All the events were equally important, but that's the one that jumped to mind. Just some of the things that I think I'd like to discuss. So I know, I think a lot of us are aware of the situation with the Nightingale School and the athletic facility that they're building on 108th Street between 3rd and Lexington Avenue. When they had come to the Youth and Education meeting a couple months back, it was a contentious meeting. I completely understand how all our members felt. I felt the same way. But the meeting did get a bit out of hand, and it's possible that the school was looking for their representatives for a reason kind of not to come back, because it is a difficult space for them to answer questions that they need to answer and commitments they need to make. And so I think you're all aware, we tried to have them come back to the next Youth and Education meeting, which they declined to do. I think many of you have to keep in mind that there isn't any ask from this board. There isn't really an ask from any elected. They can kind of do this. So myself, my vice chair, Jose, and our district manager, Angel Muscane, and Youth and Education Committee member, Russell Schuler, we met with the Nightingale team at the board office. I believe it was on April 7th. The purpose of that meeting was to restart the dialogue with the board. It was a successful meeting, at least preliminarily. I think we walked away from the meeting optimistic. They've verbally committed to well beyond the 100 hours that the NYC build is requiring them to. Don't ask me what exactly that is. I don't want to disappoint anyone, but it is significantly more. The details will have to be ironed out. They're also aware that the conversations will not continue that way. They will be coming back to committees where we'll all be able to discuss it, but this was just about building that bridge again. Because if we don't get them to the table, it will just happen. And we may make a lot of noise about it now, but a year from now, that facility will be here. We will not have gotten what we were asking for this community, and then things will get forgotten. I also want to mention that they acknowledge that they do not really intend or plan on using the facility much, if at all, during the summer. So I think this was very important for us to ask, and it was very important that they confirm that, because then we immediately responded with, then there's a lot of time for the community to have access during the summer, as well as during the school year, but especially during the summer. I think the next steps, and I will talk to the Youth and Education Committee meeting about this, is I would like to have them come back before the board before we go on break. So at least at some point in June. I'm not sure if it would be going back to Youth and Education or to Executive. And the reason potentially for Executive is that we're starting to see that this project is touching more than just on community access and youth access. It's also touching on the construction that's going on there. A lot of residents are complaining about it. Nilsa and I actually, after going to the rental ripoff hearing, we went to a resident that lived across the street. There's also the, public safety and transportation issues. It's a narrow street, questions about parents picking up their children, double parking, where the school bus is going to be picking these children up. So I think rather than maybe sending them to all these committees, it would be good to have the chairs of the affected committees all be present. And like any other committee, you're all welcome to attend and comment, ask questions. You're all board members. I will take questions at the end if anyone has. Asher, I see you. I will recognize you. And I think the other thing I just want to touch on is the Second Avenue Subway Task Force. I was a licensed chair for a long time, which did not get me a seat on that task force. And then when I became housing chair, I did attend one meeting, but we hadn't had a meeting in a long time. And I think we all see what's going on up and down Second Avenue, and then one day it's below 1/10, the next day it's all the way up to 118. There's a lot of issues there. There's 3 buildings being demolished next door to a school where there's confirmed asbestos in those buildings. There's questions regarding the method of demolition there. I've gotten them to give us the plans for that demolition, which I personally did not find sufficient. I will share them with the rest of you. I immediately followed up with questions. I'm currently in a back and forth with them regarding that. Obviously, the impact on small businesses. The signage is horrendous where there are signs. Businesses have had gates up for over a month in front of their businesses and still don't have signs. I mean, this is unacceptable. If the MTA is actually rolling out construction at sites without knowing when that was going to happen, that's a concern in and of itself, which means if they do know where they're going, the signs should be ready. I personally believe that these were issues that should have been resolved 10 years ago when they did the first phase. They love to use the slogan, lessons learned, but I'm not seeing so much that they've learned their lessons. And I can't help but start to think that by having us fight for things like signs that should already have been a given, it's stopping us then from asking for more. So we have to identify that, address that immediately, so we can kind of move the playing field to where we think these conversations need to happen and not just them controlling the venue of what we're discussing. The task force will be meeting monthly. I think it's a full go, even with the development, what they're planning to do with the ancillary sites, what housing they're going to be building. The task force meeting will be next Tuesday. We do have our land use consultant, George James, joining. Columbia University with Civitas will be issuing some kind of study on what kind of housing they want to see there. However you may feel about Columbia University conducting that study, which there have been mixed opinions, and I totally understand that. It is important that this board get its position out early and as much as possible. And so the task force will be tasked with issuing comments that evening. And I thought With having Angel as their liaison and George James there, I think we'll be able to submit comments quickly and in line with what this community has asked for when housing gets developed here. Again, it's a long report. There's a lot of other stuff here. I hope you'll all read it. You can ask me questions off the record about it. With that said, Asher, I know you had your hand up.
Thank you for the Nightingale update. I appreciated that you did let me know before board. My only thing is I do think it should be an executive issue just because being in that last youth and education meeting, like you said, there was a lot of stuff that came up that necessarily we can't address there. And I think it would be a lot better. I'm honestly just asking for my own personal sake to have all the chairs there to have that conversation about other stuff. Cause it's one thing to point people somewhere, but especially for getting them in here, it's best to get all of that done with everyone in the room. So, yeah.
I appreciate that, Asher. And the goal is not to, the committees are going to always do what they've done. There are just topics that do touch on multiple committees, and it can be more efficient when it ultimately comes to that. I think the other thing is redefining how executive committee operates. So that's why this board oversight committee was created, to alleviate the executive committee from a lot of the internal matters, allowing executive to focus more on the work of the community. So this is one example of being able to do meaningful community work at executive committee, because we have the board oversight committee handling the internal things, which I'm thankful for, because I personally don't have as much an interest in that. But with that said, thank you. Any other questions for me? Nye?
You can go. I'm gonna meet you halfway.
I just have a question about the Second Avenue subway. I'm just horribly disappointed in the whole project. Particularly, there's a bus stop on 125th between 3rd and Lex that's been moved, and there's no signage. And every morning I see families, people in wheelchairs, elderly waiting for a bus that is not coming. And I end up like telling them to go to the next stop, which is really hard for them. And the signage is definitely inadequate. But my question is, have we met with any of the other community boards, like, you know, Second Avenue on the Upper East Side went through a similar process that didn't work out well. And I'm just wondering if there's anything to be gained by meeting with those community board leaders, those elected officials, in order to partner to apply pressure on the MTA, because I do think that there's power in numbers. And so just wanted to ask if there was any possibility to collaborate.
That's a great question. I should have mentioned it. We are planning to speak to community boards that were affected by phase one and kind of maybe learn lessons from them, since the MTA, I don't know how well they learned it. So yes, we will be doing that. I know you've suggested things like this, even with the bylaws about consulting with other boards, and I agree wholeheartedly. So that is something we'll be working on. I also know that the bus situation you're describing on 125th Street is also happening by Franklin Plaza. We've discussed that. I send these long emails because there's a lot to say. I do keep following up. You send me anything you want to say, I'll say it. I don't care if I upset them, if what we're saying is the right thing. But that's a great suggestion, and it will definitely be followed up on. On that note, I do want to mention just two quick things that you reminded me of. I know the mayor's office is meeting with Community Board 4 about Rad Pact because of Elliott houses. So at Borough Board, I asked for a meeting for our board with the mayor's office for our Rad Pact situation. And then on that topic, I also brought up the Second Avenue subway at Borough Board, and the borough president graciously offered. He said, you know, I'll help you get MTA to the table. I'm like, we don't have a problem with getting to them to the table. It's when they do come to the table. So he proposed potentially having MTA, our local electeds, board leadership, at a meeting at his office to kind of, see if we could start aligning on some of these issues. So I will be constantly following up with them. And, I know some of these things are limited capacity, but I think they should be open more than just to the leadership of the board. So whenever, I will always ask to see, as many of you can come as possible. I just ask that when we are in these meetings, we go prepared with a focus, because they'll look for any excuse to just walk out of the room or not answer our questions. So thank you, Nye. Okay, with that said, Angel, the floor is yours.
Hello. Just wanted to highlight a couple of things from my report. On April 3rd, I met with representatives of the Department of City Planning regarding the 2017 East Harlem rezoning. DCP is working to improve his outreach and engagement for future community planning exercises and wanted to learn more about CB11's experience with the East Harlem Neighborhood Plan and the subsequent rezoning from 2017. The other thing I wanted to highlight, a project that was approved through our land use committee a number of years ago. So the affordable housing lottery is open now for Las Raíces, 65 newly constructed residences spread across 4 distinct locations, 303 East 102nd Street, 338 East 117th, 505 East 118th Street. Those are smaller buildings. And then a taller building, I think it's 10, 12 stories, something like that, at 101 East 122nd Street. That's next to the old Jackie Robinson Community Garden. The applications are currently available on NYC Housing Connect, and the residential units are available to households earning 40 to 80% of area median income. The application deadline is June 16th. And the last thing I wanted to highlight, which I've been including in my reports the last couple of months, but did want to encourage folks to help me spread the word about them. There's a number of links on our website with updates that we get regularly. Otherwise, we'd be emailing you 500 times a day, which nobody wants. But given the MTA project on 2nd Avenue really kicking into gear, there's a lot of notifications coming out with that, including Con Ed work that's happening in the neighborhood and DOT work that really kicks up in the summer. So I wanted to encourage you all to help the office spread the word about the information that is available on the site. So under news and announcements, there are agency and other notifications. As for like hearings that are going on that we get notified about, there's our community events calendar, which is where we share all those flyers that community organizations send to our office and ask us to publish. We don't put them all in the newsletter, otherwise it would be 100 pages long and no one would read it. DOT street permits, work permits, jobs and training, and then most importantly, like I was indicating before, work notices, which is where we put the weekly updates we get from the MTA regarding the 2nd Avenue subway project and the weekly updates we get from the MTA regarding the Park Avenue viaduct replacement project, which is now mostly focused on the second phase, which is the upper portion of Park Avenue. So I really wanted to encourage you all to help us spread the word about that. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Angel. Any questions for Angel? Okay, so we're gonna have a treasurer report, a secretary report, and then a vice chair report. So we'll go with Derek.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Derek Stampone, treasurer. Sorry I couldn't be with all of you last month. So my report is spending report for both March and April. So we paid our copier rental for the month of February and for March. And we also paid our cleaning services for February and March. We also paid for our security for April and May, videographer services for full board in September, full board in December, full board in March. We made a payment for our Airtable, which is our database. We made our payment to George Janes as our land use consultant. And then we paid our rent from January 2026 through May 2026. So we've made our full payment of our rent for the fiscal year. And lastly, we made a purchase of pens from W.E. Mason. And a copy of the report is in the drive that was shared with the agenda. Any questions? All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Derek. Rosa, the secretary report?
Go through it.
Okay, everyone. I know I've made a couple of phone calls today with regards to a couple of people that are almost in the red seat. So please, I know a lot of people have many circumstances, and when it comes to attendance, you're not able to be the voice of the person that you volunteer to be if you're not present, if you're not engaged. And if you have an emergency, let us know. I am going to read everyone's attendance. And if there's any discrepancies, please let me know to the side. So here we go. Jose Altamirano, you have one absent in September for bylaws, but that's already gone. EcoDev, you have you have an excuse absent in September. For executive, you have an absent December, January, March. And Fernando, by the way, this is public records. Just so you all know, this is public records and it will be posted because your attendance matters. Fernando Alvarez, you have September, November, January, and April absent for environment, open space, and parks. Adembria, you have an excuse absent in October for licenses and permits. Marie Charles, you have housing absences November, January, and March. You have absences for licenses and permits, October, March, and April. Oh, so they can know. Leslie Colon, you have one absent for full board. For human services, you have two absences. For public safety, you have one absent. Carlos Diaz, you have 4 absences for licenses and permits, and you have 3 absences for public safety. Myself, I have 1 absent for economic development. Jessica Elliott, you have 1 absent for September, 1 absent for land use, and 3 absences for district needs. Oops. David Giordano, you have 1 absent for full board. For district needs, you have 1 absent. Ada Gizari, for human services, you have 1 absent. James Gray, you have 1 absent for licenses and permits. John Green, you have an absent for full board. 2 absences, I'm sorry. For housing, you have 1 absent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 absences for housing. And you have 3 absences for youth and education. Chancellor Gregg, you have 1 absent for environment open space. Wanda Hopkins, I can hear you guys. Malik, I'm reading a report. Thank you. Wanda Hopkins, you have 2 absences for full board. Public safety, you have 4 absences for public safety. Kyoka Jackson, you have 1 absent and excuse absent for public safety. Christina Johnson, you have 1 full board meeting absent and 1 for housing. Joe Jones, you have an absent for executive meeting. James Kempt, you have 2 absences for housing and 3 for youth and education. Sage Mason, you have 4 absences for public safety. Malik McCulloch, you have 1 absent for environment, open space, and parks. And you have 3 absences for youth and education. Jennifer Mayer, you have an absent for full board. For human services, you have 2 absences. For youth and education, you have 3 absences. Jessica Morris, you have 3 absences for full board. Today will be the 4th one. And for youth and education, you have 4 absences. And for housing, you have 4 absences too. Neil Sararama, you have no absences. Thank you so much. Beverly Pavone, you have 1 absent in September for full board. For housing, you have 1 excused absence. Samantha Pedreiro, you have 1 absent for full board, and you have 4 for environment, open space, and parks. Tanya Phelps, you have 1 full board meeting absent. For youth and education, you have 1 absent, excuse absent. Valerie Ponte, you have 2 absences for full board, and you have 3 absences for public safety and 2 absences for human services. Asha Rodriguez, you have no absences, thank you. And Don Sanders, you have 3 absences for public safety and 4 absences for housing. Xavier Santiago, you have 1 absent full board. Janelle Satija, you have 1 absent for full board in February. And economic development, you have 1 absent. Russell Schuler, oops, sorry, I lost. For
You can ask her about your and I'm gonna get to that point when she's done.
no problem. It was in September. So Russell Schuler has 3 absences for oversight committee. Loretta So, you have 3 absences for youth and education. For housing, you have 1 absence. Derek Stampone, you have 1 absence for full board and 1 absent for executive. Benny Torres, you have 2 absences for full board, and you have 4 absences for economic development and 3 absences for land use. Amarie Vasquez, you have 1 absent for full board, 1 absent for executive, and 2 absences for EcoDev, and 1, 2, 3, 4 absences for licenses and permits. Jason Villanueva, you have 1 absent for full board and 2 absent for executive. Cande Vives Vasquez, you have 1 absent for housing, 2 absent for land use, and 3 for oversight. Nye Whitaker, you have 2 absent for full board, 3 absent for EcoDev, and 3 for land use. Agatha White, you have 1 absent for November for environment, open space, and parks, and you have 2 absent for economic development. Thank you.
All right, before I go to Jose, this is not going to be a monthly practice, but I think it was important because some of you already have heard that you've had absences that you want to dispute, which is fine. That's part of the process. So I think it was just important that you hear that. I think you should all now be aware that you should be staying on top of your attendance, not only in terms of making sure you're at meetings. I've seen the improvement with the cameras on. We really have to get you have to be here within the first 30 minutes. You cannot leave till the meeting is over. That's what's required. The reason that we're keep banging this drum is because despite the number of emails I've sent and everything, there still seem to be the same questions. So this was not an exercise done for any other reason than to make everyone, again, very aware of attendance. Also to let you all know that there might be times where you were marked absent incorrectly. So you should be staying on top of that. If we're all responsible for our own attendance, it'll make everyone's job easier with this. All right, so again, the report will not be like this moving forward, but I thought it was important to do this one time. And hopefully we don't have to do it again. So if you did hear anything that you disputed, you can email Rosa, you can copy myself. Well, you can email whoever you really want, but like I would suggest you email the secretary, copy myself, copy Angel, and copy Jose to that email. And we'd be happy to discuss that with you. Fortunately, our meetings are recorded, so it is easier than the past to kind of do an audit of people's attendance should they wish to. Asher, is your question for me or Rosa? Not ask specific. No, not saying it to you in general. I'm just saying if anyone else has a question, do not ask about your specific situation here. Ask a general question. If you have a specific issue with your attendance, you can ask that and we will rectify it.
Just so we can know, Rosa. Hi, Rosa. Are you reading off of the living spreadsheet or is this a report you put together?
This is from the attendance that you all have.
I'm asking currently at this moment, are you reading from the spreadsheet or is this like a report you compiled together?
This
Like
is,
yeah, I just want to know because the spreadsheet is, as I've always said during executive, I think it's better to read off of the spreadsheet. I know it's a lot of extra work, but that is a living document. So it's a lot more accurate than necessarily, because we've probably have had meetings since, I don't know when you made the report, but yeah.
this is a report that I do every month and I present at executive and I get the information from the attendance from the share folder.
I know that. I'm just saying it's just so there's no room for much argument about specific attendance. It's better to read off of the spreadsheet. So I would like to just say that for the record.
Okay, thank you. Kyoka, was your hand up? Okay.
So as our attendance was read out for public record, will it be, if there's corrections, will that be corrected on public record as well?
Yes, it will, because the minutes of this meeting, if there's an objection to something that happened this evening, so if that's on the record and it's corrected, we will identify those corrections at next month's meeting. If it's been incorrect already, it's already incorrect on the record, so it will be changed there and it will be verbally announced so that anybody who had this wrong will have it set right on the record. Okay? With that said, Jose, you want to give your report?
I forgot I had to give a report. You know, when I was a kid, I got good grades, but the teachers always said I wouldn't listen. But in this room, maybe I wasn't completely the problem, right? Thank you all. I know that this is new and this is bothersome for some of you, but again, the whole point of this is not to do this in a negative fashion. It's quite the opposite. If you think that something was wrong, for instance, I had a few absences in executive that weren't absences, and we were able to fix that prior to the meeting. But I did get a call from Rosa saying that I had reached the limit for my absences in that committee, and we fixed it. So that's the whole point of this, right? Like you got to view it from a point of, you know what, if you were there or you weren't there, but sometimes there are errors, and this is a way for you to fix the errors. I don't have such a thrilling report as the rest of my members, but I do want to remind everyone that attendance is very important. And I want to particularly put into effect that in September, we're going with the 2/3, right? So again, just to make everyone clear, what does that mean? For full board, in 6 months, you have to have at least attended 4 times, right? It's very simple. It's 2/3. And the same thing goes for your committees. In your committees, if you're on 2 committees, which most of us are, that's 12. All right, so 2/3 of that is 8. So as long as you are in that range, everything is fine. So you have 4 absences that you can have throughout that 6 months, which is a significant amount if you need them. But if you otherwise go into that, then, we will be going over that in board oversight, and we've been pretty good at doing that, particularly since we are still having some quorum issues in some committees, and some committees are still having to wait. Some committees are still not meeting because of quorum, and that's just not acceptable. All right, if you have an issue with that particular scheduling, then please let the chair know, and we can find a way to put you somewhere that fits is more befitting. And that's all for me. Thank you, folks.
Okay, thank you, Jose. That'll conclude Jose's report, and we will now move to our committee report. and
Asher has a
action
question.
items. What? Oh,
There is.
there is. And I think, so we don't belabor the point here, executive, my report will touch on some of this as well to give more clarity. All right, so the committee reports and action items, same ground rules as earlier, just don't speak until granted the floor. If you have a question, right, to be recognized. And the chat should not be used for board business or questions about agenda topics. And then we will conduct all votes by roll call. Okay, so we're going to go to the first one, which is the Second Avenue Subway Task Force. You met after last full board, so you got to give a report on that first meeting.
I keep going. All right, we met for the task force. As you know, that this project is going to be the biggest project in East Harlem for many years to come. There has been funding already for certain parts of the construction of phase 2, but they have phases inside of the phase, so you'll hear that. It might be a little confusing, but we have been working very hard in this regard. Besides our own meeting for the task force, we've been to 3 other meetings with MTA this month. In regards to business signage, the street deviation, which they ended up fixing and doing a better job. I don't know if you noticed going down Second Avenue, we now have a kind of a zigzag situation. And this is going to affect the community, the businesses, everything. We had certain buildings that had floods in the basement because of this. That was remediated. I will say that the MTA is being responsive. They are attending, but we still need more because their timetable is a little different. For them, a short timetable is 6 weeks, and a small business that doesn't have signage for 6 weeks is a considerable amount of time. They may not make it if they can go down in business efficiently. So we're going to be pushing very hard for that. We expect appropriate signage to be visible, to be legible, to be attractive. It is going to be very contentious. We are going to have plenty of resident complaints. Ourselves, we're going to complain about it. But there are some things that we can mitigate and some things we can't, but we are being very active in this regard. Did I forget anything? I think that was everything. Any questions? No.
Say when the next meeting is?
We went to the other MTA in 116. You went with me.
Oh, no, I meant the next committee meeting. Did you say?
Well, Oh, next meeting's next week. Next week?
Tuesday at 6:30 at the board office. So you're all welcome to attend virtually or in person.
I will say that we have a very contentious point with the MTA for 120th and Second. There is a school there, and the building next to the school has asbestos, and we have been pushing for them to encapsulate, which they should have. They told us that what they're doing is that they are monitoring it and they're doing the demolition by hand for the top 3 floors. The school is aware of this, of course, and everyone else is aware. However, we are still pushing for encapsulation because I wouldn't want my kid next to somewhere where they're, putting down asbestos. They do have independent monitoring services, but we are still considerably pushing on that, and that is a big point of contention that we currently have. Have a question, Asher? You have a question, Asher. What was that? Okay, for the task force. You mean. Next week? That means I'll see you there. Good. But yeah, that is a big point of contention. I still think that they should have encapsulated, but that's just me. Huh?
And some plywood. Yeah.
Yeah, plastic sheet and plywood, but that's not the encapsulating is a much more. Anne-Marie? I'm sorry, you need to speak into the mic, Anne-Marie.
They're demolishing the building in the corner of 120 and Second Avenue? Because that's gone.
The one that is
Right.
next, like touching the floor.
Touching the
In between second and third.
There's only one building and then the school.
Okay.
They're also going to demolish the other two buildings that are on Second Avenue. But those don't have the higher concern of asbestos.
Any other questions, Rose? Okay, we will now go to executive, like Second Avenue Subway Task Force. We met after last month's full board. I wrote some pretty in-depth minutes, but I'm just gonna touch on one thing, which will touch back on the attendance. So we began looking at possible bylaw revisions. We had about 8 brought to that meeting, which was a little bit ambitious, and I realized that probably want to start with a couple to see if we could get them to be voted through. One of them talks about the eligibility of members to run for officer positions. And then a lot of the rest of them, and essentially, I guess I can try to summarize it as best as I can. So if you are eligible for reappointment to the board, you can run for an officer position because we have 2-year terms. So the whole point is to avoid officer terms where members then are off, say, a year after being elected because they've been termed out. So as long as you're up for reappointment by the borough president, you're eligible to run for an officer position. But should you not be eligible for a reappointment during that election cycle, meaning you're elected for a 2-year term, you're termed off come the spring, you would not be able to run. This has been something discussed a lot at this board. More last year as we had an election. But we're just looking to address that to put it behind us once and for all. Again, any of these proposals will eventually, they have to go to the full board. Now, just to get to the bylaws regarding attendance. I don't know how everyone feels. I sometimes feel like we might be up here being the bad guys because we're more on enforcing attendance than may have been what happened prior. With that said, if you look at our bylaws as they currently exist, everything we're saying is actually to be in compliance with the bylaws. A lot of what we've done has not been in compliance with the bylaws. With that said, if anyone has an issue with the bylaws as they're written and the way attendance is looked at, you're welcome to come to a meeting. You're welcome to propose an amendment. We will be discussing that at executive to streamline it, to allow board oversight to really start to do its job. But you're welcome to check the bylaws and you're welcome to see that we're actually bringing everything into compliance. And I've said as chair that I will do my best for us to adhere to those bylaws. Now, what those bylaws are is a decision of this body. Should we choose to amend those bylaws to perhaps make attendance more lenient, I would enforce those bylaws. So I think if we can set a culture of enforcing our bylaws and being open to amending them when necessary and when the body feels as it should be, then we shouldn't have these issues. So I know this might seem redundant and excessive and whatever, but we're trying to break the habit of years of not not doing what we've agreed are our own laws. So we will be discussing this Thursday at executive, along with a host of other things. Okay, Jessica, I see your hand, and then Nye.
Thanks. Regarding the bylaws, I think it's unfortunate that we let go of the bylaws committee. But I think great that we're still carrying forward this work in executive. If we're having trouble with the appointment alignments with the term alignments of the elected officer positions, then I would suggest that and if we're not interested in changing the election cycle to align with the appointment cycle, then perhaps we should entertain adjusting the term limits of officers from 2 years to 1 year, because in the coming years, the term limits is going to become a real problem. Thanks.
Thank you. I don't know if it was a question for me, but I'll address it anyway. I've spoken with our district manager, who's more aware of who will be termed out, et cetera. I asked him, I can share it with you, the amount of head scratching I went through to figure out who would be impacted by this, how many members. And I don't want to put him on the spot, but Angel, if I'm saying anything that's incorrect, let me know. Our district manager, who would abide by our rules more than any of us, told me to leave this issue alone, that there is no issue. There is no issue with our election cycles. 2 years is not a lot of time. I mean, I've already been elected for 2 years, and I'll tell you this, if we have people running, in my opinion, every year, we'll be in a constant election cycle. And a lot of these issues, in my opinion, that we're talking about, that at least our district manager thinks are not issues, are a result of an election. I personally think that everything was actually okay as it was, which is what Angel expressed. This was something that the previous chair had talked to city law about and said to button it up more. I will say one last thing. This election, as a participant in it, I've never seen an election on this board that was run so poorly. Nilsa, you've been the chair of the elections committee before that. You kept it very simple, as did your predecessors with that process, and we had no issues. And this was overcomplicated, and I think the point is to streamline this process. But again, you're all welcome to have your opinion. We'll go with what the majority decides. But I'm personally tired of us continuing to talk about how we operate internally, and not focusing on as much on the work we should be doing. I would really love for us not to be talking about attendance, not to be talking about elections till there is an election. I didn't hear a call for 1-year terms when the previous officers were in their position. They knew fully well that this problem was coming, and they didn't think it was a problem at that time. But now it is a problem. That's an interesting point as well. So I would park those feelings. We all knew term limits were coming. Nothing was done to prepare for them. And all of a sudden, at the last minute, let's do something about it. And as the chair of that bylaws committee, I can tell you that I will personally say I was not able to get too much done there. And so if you guys want me to put a bylaw committee back together, I'll be happy to do that. I will always go with, if you guys overwhelmingly want something, a majority to do it. But I'm just saying from my experience, bringing the bylaws committee back will do more harm than good. The executive committee can handle this. And if you start to feel that we can't, go ahead. But these are the committee chairs of the board, and you will ultimately all have a say at the end in every bylaw. Everybody has one vote at the end of the day. They all count the same. Nilsa?
Hello, everyone. Oh, I hate that tinny sound. I just want to talk from, I don't know if I should talk about this at executive because the election was brought up, but I just wanted to give a perspective. I ran the elections committee for multiple elections. And I know that the last election had some questions. But I also wanted to talk as a chair that was elected twice and elected not to run for my third term, which would have made it 6 years. At first, our terms were 3 years, our terms was for 6 years, 2 terms each. And I thought that we should truncate that to 2 terms of 2 years so that because of term limits, you would have more of an opportunity to run, right? But I want to say from the perspective of someone who worked 4 years, that if you vote for someone for 1 year, it is not enough. By the time you make relationships, by the time you're getting things done, it'll be time to vote someone in. And I have spoken to other community boards that have the 1 year, and they're constantly going through this issue where things are happening and then they have to go through an election to get. So I just want to say that from my perspective, 2 years is more than enough, and 2 terms, especially with the Second Avenue subway and all the other projects that are hitting East Harlem, it's important that while we look to truncate things and make things less, that it's important that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot by getting people who may not have those relationships, because it takes a long time to build relationships. As you know, we're all a community board here, and we're just learning to build relationships among ourselves and in our committees. So imagine trying to do this with electeds that change and their election cycles. So continuity is important.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nye?
Okay, I just had 2 questions because I didn't see the reference in the bylaws, and it just may be something we need to clarify. One is individual religious observances, and just making sure, like, if people are out, how they should communicate around that, because I would hope that those would be excused. The second was, when we have snowstorms and other weather, and that creates a deviation in calendar or meetings, et cetera. And then the third is when meeting dates get moved for other reasons. So if a meeting is usually on a Wednesday and then all of a sudden it's on a Monday or a Thursday, with everyone's work and everyone's schedules, how is that accommodated? Because then we stand the chance of losing really good members in trying to navigate those 3 scenarios. So just wanted to make a recommendation for something to be added to the bylaws to address that. Thank you.
I'll just say briefly, I hear everything you're saying. The scenarios, I think we have a pretty lenient attendance system. So if even you were impacted by those, that shouldn't really get you removed. The proposal is, and let me finish before everybody gets, is to remove the excused absences only because they still are absences. So they're creating this confusion. But to your point, I've talked to Angel about, and Angel's very mindful of creating the calendar where we really avoid having meetings on holidays. We've also thrown the idea back out about having multiple committee meetings in the same night in 2 different locations, which would allow us then to have more available nights during the month. That's something we'll share in advance. So, and you will, let's say, just last thing, let's just say you do miss a meeting and you notify your committee chair or full board chair, and you're like, there is a holiday, whatever. It would still be an absence, but that would be noted that if you have a hearing, that will be heard the same way it's been heard up to now. It's just to remove that confusion about what excuse means. Is there any other questions? All right. Well, okay, I'll go Kira and then Tom.
Hi, everyone. As a public member looking in, I just want to make sure that we're all being very respectful of the public and the community that's watching. Y'all have spent a good 12 minutes talking about bylaws and things that should be happening at executive meetings. So like there's literally a business here, Supreme Pizza is here, and they're waiting to hear about their permit. And I just really, really would like if we could all move forward with actual professionalism. That's all. Thank you.
I hear you. I don't think anybody's been unprofessional, and you have to understand that not all these members get to be at those meetings. So this is their opportunity to hear it. And I agree. I would like to put this all behind us. My hope is that will come soon. but we are where we are and we're gonna have to get through it. So thank you. I didn't realize I'd have to, Tanya.
I'm sorry if this is a repeated question and I missed it, but I'm just here, if you have an emergency date of, that's my one absence, then, but it was called out as you didn't show up, but I actually had an emergency. How is that rectified? How is that looked upon?
And I'll end on this note. We've talked about that. That's again a rare occasion. I do think we have to consider those and think about what we're going to do because I totally hear you. I will say as well that from now on, if a committee chair cannot make their meeting, that will not be a reason to move the meeting date. Your meeting will stay where it is. A committee chair is not going to be like, oh, I'm on vacation, so I'm moving it. That's what you have a vice chair for. So that should address at least the irregularities sometimes in meetings, all right? Can you, who's the next? Is it licenses and permits that's up next? Okay. Kioka, you chair that meeting, right? Do you, I mean, I can do it for you. It's up to you. Yeah, I think you can do it, not even try. Here, you want the mic? You want to, if you don't mind, come up for this one? Yeah, I'm gonna have you come over here so everyone can see you. Just read them out and the approvals, I mean, just. It does. I know, I just kind of, you know. Do something else. There you go.
Okay. Bear with me, and I'm gonna read faster than other people did. Candy, be quiet. All right, so for licenses and permits, the first item on the agenda was DMC Park LLC doing business as Dear Mama. New application for a new liquor license for a restaurant located at 1325 Fifth Avenue. This was a motion to deny was made by Ada, I can't say her last name, and it was seconded by Carlos Diaz and passed unanimously. So this one was denied. I don't know if I'm saying the right words, but y'all be okay. They'll be okay, they'll understand. Number 2 on the agenda was Sparkology New York LLC, new application for an adult use retail dispensary license for a property located at 1870 3rd Avenue, New York, 10029. It's at 103rd Street. The committee recommends that this application for Sparkology New York LLC be denied because the required documents were not provided on time. So the motion to deny was made by James Gray, seconded by Ada, and passed unanimously. HHFM East Harlem Market, application number 914367 is a farmer's market. It's going to be held on Thursdays, May 14th I don't like this mic, 2026. The location is at 104th Street between 3rd Avenue and 2nd Avenue. It's a street closure. It's a full sidewalk closure, and it's sponsored by Harvest Home Farmers Market. The committee recommends that this application for HHFM East Harlem Farmers Market be approved. Number 4 is the same as HHFM Metropolitan Market. Application number 914469 Farmers Market will be held on Fridays, May 15, 2020, starting on May 15, 2026, through November 20th, 2026. The location is at 2nd Avenue between East 97th Street and East 99th Street. This is sponsored by Harvest Home Farmers Market Incorporated. The committee recommends that this application for HHF and Metropolitan Market be approved. 316, I'm not crying. 316 Kingdom Block Party, application number 922378, Single Block Festival, happening on June 14, 2026, located at East 100th Street between Lexington and Park Avenue. It's sponsored by Life Changers Academy. The committee recommends that the application for 316 Kingdom Block Party be approved. Number 6 is 2026 Harlem Skyscraper Cycling Classic. The application number is 920-965. It's a street event happening on June 21st, 2026. The setup, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. The location is several locations. So Madison Avenue between East 120th Street and East 124th Street. The second location is West 124th Street between Madison Avenue and Mount Morris Park West. The third location is East 120th Street between Madison Avenue and Mount Morris Park West. It's a street closure, sidewalk and street closure. The sponsor is Team Unity Incorporated. The committee recommends that this application be approved for 2026 Harlem Skyscraper Cycling Classic. Number 7 is Salsa El Barrio Multicultural Event End of Summer. Application number 921-138. It's a block party happening on July 25th, 2026. The location is at East 109th Street between 2nd Avenue and 3rd Avenue. It's a full street closure sponsored by residents of the block. The committee recommends that this application for Salsa El Barrio Multicultural Event End of Summer be approved. Number 8 is Music Speaks Festival, application number 915-409. It's a street event happening on August 26, 2026. The location is at East 106th Street, Lexington Avenue, between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. It's a full street closure. It's being sponsored by Music Speaks Festival. The committee recommends that this application for Music Speaks Festival be approved. The next one is KR3TS Back Wellness Dance Festival, application number 918394 is a health fair, excuse me, happening on September, I'm about to say my birthday, September 5th, 2026. The location is at 3rd Avenue between 127th and 128th Street. It's a full street closure. The sponsor is KR3TS Dance Company. The committee recommends that this application for KR3TS Back Wellness Dance Festival be approved. Number 10 is Teamwork on 3. LLC doing business as Teamwork on 3. Removal application for a liquor license 0370-241199-977 for a restaurant located at 2021 Lexington Avenue, New York, 10035, located at 123rd Street. The committee recommends that this application for Teamwork on 3 LLC doing business as Teamwork on 3 be approved with the following conditions. The first one is that the establishment should not have any 311 calls for the 3 months, April 28th, 2026 through July 28th, 2026. And also that the 25th precinct must confirm if the establishment presents additional issues at the new location. Sparkology New York LLC, new application for an adult use retail dispensary. Wait a minute, I read these, right? I'm sorry. I apologize. I told y'all I was nervous. This is the right page. Sorry. My bad. Okay, so finishing for Teamwork on 3 is a motion to conditionally approve the application for Teamwork on 3 LLC doing business as Teamwork on 3 was made by Keoka Jackson, seconded by James Gray, and passed with 1 abstention. Number 11 is James Weldon Johnson Houses Love and Unity Day, application number 918852, block party, which is happening on July 25th. The location is at East 112th Street between Park Avenue and Lexington Avenue. It's a full street closure. The sponsors are James Weldon Johnson Houses Tenants Association. The committee recommends that this application for James Weldon Johnson Houses Love and Unity Day be approved. And the last one is Supreme Eats Pizza and Pasta Corporation. It's a new application for wine, beer, and cider license for a restaurant located at 1590 Lexington Avenue, New York, New York, 10029 at 101st Street. The committee recommends that the application for Supreme Eats Pizza Corp. Be approved with the following condition. The applicant must submit all required documents to the Community Board, to Community Board 11, no later than the close of business day at April 14th, 2026. A motion to conditionally approve the application was made by Ada, seconded by Wanda Hopkins, and passed unanimously.
Okay, thank you, Kyoka. Before I get to questions, just so you know, the conditions for number 12 were met. I know we have a gentleman in the public who wants to comment on that. Before I do that, Chancellor,
Yeah, for the record,
Really?
number 4.
it'll be 7 a.m.
It should be 7 a.m. Okay.
Make
just
that
wanted to be sure.
correction.
Thank you.
Thank you for raising that. Mr. Andino, yep, you're recognized. Somebody could bring him the mic. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. My name is Leroy Andino, and I'm proud to say that I live and work in East Harlem, celebrating 29 years of teaching in District 4, Manhattan East. Thank you. Okay, anyway, all right. But tonight's not about me. Tonight's about Supreme Eats, right? And I want to let everybody know that they've been a great addition to our community. Every time I think of events for my students, which involves food, I call them. They provide food for us. They also support different churches in the community. And they also support local organizations that do internships for young people. So I just wanted to let everybody know how well they are doing in my community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, do we have any other questions? Beverly?
Thank you, Chair. My question is regarding number 10, when you have these conditions. If they get a 311 call during the time period, what would happen? Do you just revoke the license?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So there's a little backstory quickly. The precinct, they're in another location right now. They're on the corner. It's a juice bar. It's a small place. There are a lot of 311s. We invite the precinct in every month, 23rd, 25th, to comment anything they have to say on these applications. The 25th came in, and I've really never seen it before, basically told us, do not approve this license, essentially, is what they said. The problem with the space, according to the applicant, was where they currently are, it's very small, and they're not really able to keep all their patrons inside, which is causing patrons to spill out and cause noise complaints. Their argument is that they're moving to a bigger space where that won't happen. So the committee felt that it was fair to give them the opportunity to show that moving to this new address will alleviate those issues. But we're also very mindful of what the precinct had to come in and say. So I think that they balanced it with this condition, which the applicant did not really push back on. And I think the committee was very thoughtful about how they approached this. But obviously you're all open to your own interpretation of that. Anne Marie? Anne Marie? Oh.
She's waiting. I know. Two questions. The first one is, how did you guys come about not denying it, but versus giving them these what is it called again? Conditions, thank you. And the second question is it gonna stay a juice bar? Because I passed by and the sign says restaurant. So, yeah. So instead of denying it, you guys gave it conditions. How did that come about?
So the reason why we came up with conditions was because their story is that because they're moving into a bigger place, the issues that they're having would not happen because the place that they're in would only hold about 5 to 6 people versus that where they're moving to is 70, I think they said 70-person seating. Um, so the conditions was, okay, so you're telling us that you'll be able to control the crowd a little bit better. We want to see. So if I may, I actually was driving past and jumped out of my car the other day because there was a ton of people on the street. I mean, I couldn't even get past, like I had to ask people to move. And so the conditions is that if they are moving into this bigger space, can you control your crowd and keep them inside the door? And if they can't, then we say, however that works, I don't know how that works, but we're saying no, that we will not approve. And the second question is it a restaurant? That is what they applied for. It's not a juice bar anymore. He's moving away. He said he's moving away from being a juice bar. No.
No, it's gonna be like a restaurant lounge. They've already opened. I think there's conflicting. They're doing like a soft opening. I've seen that they've opened on social media. I think the committee will be very on top of this application because of the concerns of the precinct. So yeah, and then you had a second question? She answered them both? Okay, sorry. All right, any other questions? All right, and if I don't see any
He
issues.
has a question.
Oh, okay.
Because you gotta talk for the record.
Okay, for the record, good evening, everybody. So for the record, are we gonna lump are we gonna vote all in one lump or we're gonna separate them?
I'm gonna entertain a motion to bundle 1 through 12 so we can, for the sake of moving this along. And then we're gonna do a roll call vote. So if you have a differing position, you can identify the one that you would like to, if you're present not voting, you can do that during the roll call. I think I understand maybe what you're saying. So
Okay,
yeah,
thanks. 'Cause I'm
you're
gonna
welcome.
do present.
Thank you, Candy. Are there any other hands? Okay, thank you, Kioka. Do I have a motion to bundle items 1 through 12? Motion by Malik?
Yes.
Is there a second? Seconded by Candy. Angel, can we do the roll vote or? Yeah.
Jose Altamirano. Fernando Alvarez. Dembria. Marie Charles. It's a yes or no. What's your vote? Thank you. Leslie Colon. All right, so I could stop doing this or? Okay. Carlos Diaz. Rosa Diaz. Jessica Elliott. David Giordano. Thank you, David. Ada.
Yes.
James Gray. John Green.
Aye.
Chancellor. 11 present not voting. Gotcha. Wanda Hopkins is not here. Keoka Jackson. Christina Johnson. Christina. Thank you. It's a simple question. Jewel Jones. James Kemp. Sage Mason is not here. Malik McCullough. Jennifer Meyer is not here. Jessica Morris is not here. Nelson Rama. Beverly Pabon, Samantha Pedrero, Tanya Phelps, Valerie Ponte is not here. Asher Rodriguez, Don Sanders is not here. Xavier Santiago, Janelle Satijo, Russell Schuler, Loretta So, Derek Stampone,
Yes.
Vinnie Torres, Vinnie Torres. He doesn't have an answer? No vote? No vote. Got it. You're not Vinnie. Thank you. Amory Vasquez. It's ridiculous. Jason Villanueva. Candy Vivas Vasquez. Present not voting for 9 and 11. Gotcha. Thank you, Candy. Nye Whitaker. No on 10, yes on everything else. Gotcha. Agatha White. Motion carries.
Thank you, Angel. All right, we're gonna go to the other ones. If you don't have action items, please try to keep it real quick. Just hit your highlights. Environment, open space and parks, Rosa.
Yes.
Housing, Nilsa. Malik, I'll give you the mic. Yeah, go ahead, Nye.
While I'm here, are they the new business or are they the housing part of the agenda?
Because everybody from the community gets to speak during the public session. So who else is waiting to speak?
The woman that mentioned the amount of time that we were taking on the agenda, she said there were,
No, that's a public member. She was, I believe, you can ask her, but she was speaking on behalf of the gentleman that just spoke about the Supreme Pizza. Everybody in the public can sign up to speak in the beginning. We always give them that courtesy. Nilsa, housing, we're gonna go back to parks, but Rosa was not ready, so to move it along, Nilsa.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be brief with my housing report. I want to thank my vice chair, as always, Beverly Pavone, who does such thorough minutes, so I suggest you read them. And if you have any questions on what I say, I urge you to watch the housing video, just like I urge you to watch all the videos if you can. I'm just going to go straight to the presentations and discussions. We had a representative from a shareholder from a HDFC co-op at 1775, 1779 Madison Avenue regarding a noise complaint. And so we had a thorough discussion, and it seems like the co-op really wants to work as quickly and as painlessly as possible to try to resolve the housing problem, because it's a lot of noise. And so the housing committee, as well as our chair, and our leadership will be working with them to try to resolve that issue. As part of our discussions, we always discuss area median income, and sometimes there's a lot of questions on that. So I put together a presentation for housing, and so we gave out handouts and we had a discussion. I suggest that you look at that to get more familiar with that. And let's see what else we. And then we also talked about the budget tracker. The District Needs and Budget Committee has worked very hard. Thank you to Sage Mason for putting together forms and improving each iteration every year. And so now the way the budget tracker is, they'd want us to submit ideas throughout the year and trying to do outreach within our committees so that we can get any ideas and we can look at them and we can review them. We had a representative come from We Act, and they shared information regarding their ongoing night working group. And that group meets on the last Monday of each month and is currently recruiting participants for a stipend-supported indoor temperature monitoring project in northern Manhattan. So if you have any questions regarding that, and we discussed the Miles development that has ongoing issues concerning different things, and the Jackie Robinson development that has ongoing gas outage issues. So I suggest that you look at our minutes for more information. As part of new business, we will be discussing the Housing and Community Development Act. That is, the federal government is trying to change something for mixed status households, and that's going to affect a lot of people in our communities. I want to thank Jessica Morris for taking the lead on this. She did put this together and did revisions, and that's what we're going to review that on the new business. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson. Any questions? Okay, thank you. Rosa, are you ready? Good.
Thank you, Chair. With regards to environment open space, as you all should know, tomorrow is our 5th annual Earth Day conference. Everyone, of course, is welcome to join. Please, everyone should join. Hopefully, we have a full house tomorrow of a lot of community board members. We also have, Chancellor, do you want to announce the other event that we also have upcoming? We also we table at the Jackie Robinson event on April 18. Thank you, Chair, for joining. It was a beautiful day celebrating, socializing, learning about other community board members. Manhattan Borough President attended, provided his remarks. Parks Commissioner Tricia Shimamura was in attendance. Community Board 9, 10, and 11 represented its highest, April 18. We are having our community garden tours starting May 30th at 11 a.m. Flyer is currently being drafted. We will have it hopefully soon. Chancellor, you want to announce that other thing, please?
So Rosa and I are part of this group called Supporting Parks and Revitalizing Community Study. I mentioned last full board about the first meeting. Second meeting is actually going to be next Friday, May 1st, from 5:30 to 7:30 at White Playground, which is 170 East 106. It's free food. Thank you to all who did join, and it's open for everyone. So free food, raffles. It's going to be actually in the park for discussions and conversations to help revitalize and bring new programming to White Playground.
Asher?
Hi, Rosa. Just a quick question. Have you had any more D4 schools RSVP to attend the Earth Day conference, and which schools are attending who have RSVP'd?
I know you keep on asking me that. A lot of schools are taking the test.
Okay.
And actually David said yes, but now he just said no. So I'm not 100% sure which schools are coming or not. But the 3 that I spoke to you about the other day during executive, I think it was. That's it.
Okay. So,
And this event is for everyone, just in case, not just District 4 school. Everyone is welcome to the event.
All right, thank you. We're going to go to land use, landmarks and planning. Jason?
Thank you. I'll be brief. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Villanueva. I'm your Land Use, Landmarks, and Planning Chair Committee. I'm sorry, Chair of the committee. Just some brief updates and then one highlight, as we have no action items this month. Angel mentioned some of the affordable housing applications that have been submitted. I just want to implore the board that the affordable housing plan applications and supporting materials are available on the CB11 Land Use and Landmarks database. That's online. If I have questions, you can reach out to the board or me direct. As for our presentation this month, we had EDC provide an update on the B parcel of the East 125th Street Development Project. The B East parcel is an L-shaped lot that wraps around the gas station at the corner of 125th Street and Second Avenue. They started talking briefly to us about their development plans and ensuring community engagement. So they'll be back. This is also tying into our committee's plan this year with our initiation of land use of land planning. So we had ECC come out this month. Next month, the plan is DCP and eventually to get ECF. So then we can kind of collaborate a interagency meeting with the board. So then that way we can express some of our concerns with land use and planning. And that's it.
Thank you, Jason. Any questions for Jason? I can't even see from here. Oh, Christina. Okay.
Because I got an answer.
Everybody knows what they are.
There you go. You got to say it in the mic.
Can you please tell us what your acronyms stand for everyone's clarification?
Yes, EDC is the Economic Development Corporation. I believe that's the only acronym I used. Any others, you can always reach out direct and I will give you a formal response.
Thank you. All right, with that said, we'll move to public safety and transportation. Jose?
Most of it is for informational purposes. We do have some old business that is, we are battling with DOT. There will be a large capital project on 128th Street. They will be changing the way that you get off the 3rd Avenue Bridge. There will be a red light. They will be veering 128th Street up. They're going to put a signal light there. And our suggestion to DOT has been to make 3rd Avenue a two-way street from 128th to 127th, because on 127th, there's very little traffic that flows, just to help with that congestion. As you all know, if you've entered the city through 3rd Avenue anytime during rush hour, it is considerable traffic. This new traffic will help pedestrians, but will cause significant more traffic into the Bronx. It's a concern for us being a high asthma rate, having more cars idling. Cars aren't necessarily going to start paying the Triborough Bridge. I know it has what's the new name? It's got a new name. But no one's going to be RFK. No one's going to be paying that toll instead of coming for free over the 3rd Avenue Bridge. So we do have that concern. We're told that because of safety, that they don't think it's a viable situation. However, downtown, for those of you who go past downtown, down 14th Street, 3rd Avenue is a two-way street. And it just becomes a one-way street miraculously, and there aren't any major catastrophes or accidents or pedestrian issues. So we're going to continue pushing back on that, because this change in our infrastructure is going to cause us significant more traffic, and it is a concern.
Any questions for Jose? Malik?
Yes, are they making those changes as far as concerns to the bottleneck that's right there? Are they like, what is the reason why they are making those changes?
The reason they're making, it's a great question. So as you all see that there's a pedestrian bridge that goes over that no one uses. Everyone just crosses the street. So that pedestrian bridge is done. Also, it's not ADA, it has steps. Even though it looks like a ramp, it has steps. So it's not complying with ADA. So that will be completely removed. They will have a street. This would be great if we could pop. Khalid, do you think you can pop up, or Angel, do you think you could put it up on the screen so it would be easier? Could we find the presentation? No? All right, let's do it for next. We'll do it for next month. But the reason is because of that, because they want to change the pedestrian bridge. But honestly, the city has been going through a lot of pedestrian redesigning in that area. So we're not against making it safer for pedestrians. That's not what we're against. What we want is some common sense approach into knowing that there is a considerable amount of traffic that comes in that way. And by pushing 128th Street and putting a traffic signal there, so there would be a traffic signal where those concrete barriers currently start. They're going to put 128th, it's going to loop up. There's going to be a traffic signal for the school and for the bridge. And then that's going to go, yeah, I know. It sounds kind of crazy, but for next month, when we have a position, we'll show you. We currently have a position. We are against this, but we are going to work on that position. And in regards to asking DOT to reconsider to making this a two-way street, if anyone's been there, people make it a two-way street every day. When there's traffic, people drive up Third Avenue and they go into 127th Street.
Yeah, the police be there every morning too, and
Yeah, when the
they give
police,
them tickets.
and then what people do is that they'll go in reverse
Yeah.
and they'll do it. But
Hi, I'm wondering if we've spoken to any of the electeds, especially of this area, regarding our concerns and our tentative position?
I have. I have kidnapped them. I've taken them there. And they've seen it. I think we were there. This is when Elsie was actually chief of staff for Diana. And I don't think we were there 30 seconds before a Parks Department truck went up against the one-way street until Third Avenue to avoid all the traffic and goes into 127th. So they are aware of it. However, sometimes DOT has a certain point of view in their head, and it's very difficult to get them away from that view.
From a safety issue, I'm just wondering if any of the tenants in that area, but also specifically all the youth that use that 128th Street park, I don't know what the name of that park is, but Harlem Jets uses it and schools use it. And I just want to make sure that we're getting input in consideration from the parents, the residents, and the youth that use that area to make sure it makes sense for them who will be walking as pedestrians with the new redesign.
The residents of the park or because there are residents in the park, just
The residents around the
or
park.
you mean the,
I live right there, so I see who gets
then
the
you
kind of,
there's not much residency around that park.
no. On Lexington, on Third, there are residents around that park. There are the Harlem Jets who use that park all day, every day during
Yes.
the week and on the weekends. And I'm just saying, it's one thing to have a conversation about car usage, but are we also having a conversation about how people use and transverse that area as part of the design?
Well, interesting enough that you mentioned this. When this goes into play, it's going to be much more difficult for the people that use that park, because right now what's happening is that they can double park and there's still enough space in the street for traffic to flow. When this is implemented, you will not have that space. So I'm really not sure where people will be leaving their vehicles when they go to use the park. So it's quite the opposite in that.
They're just walking.
They're going to be extending both sides of the street.
Right, but there are people that just walk to the park and there are people who do use that path that is now being taken down. I know it's not heavy, but there
Have you-
are people who use
I know,
it
but
every day.
I've been there when they have the games and there's a whole lot of cars.
So, if I may, they're putting, the reason why they taking it down, they taking that down and they putting lights there so people can walk past.
Because they know
one of
that
the
no
reasons-
one is using that pedestrian bridge, because no one uses it.
No, I get it.
Crossing. Yeah.
So that's why they putting the lights there, so that people can
Well,
actually,
the lights are actually well before where they're crossing. It's very strange.
is, he got it up.
Yeah. So the light, just so you're aware, light's gonna go up there. The crossing's over here.
So it's no lights there. Where the
No,
crossing zone is.
there's no light, to my knowledge, unless they're adding one as of recently, no.
All right, and, oh, Candy, all right, last question.
I'm sorry. Do you, are they gonna plan to put a signage to notify the residents about the changes that are gonna occur?
We can find that out. Raphael, who's from the DOT, presents, we'll send him an email after the meeting about signage notifying them. Also, Jose did ask Raphael, who's the rep from the DOT, if we could get a meeting with the commissioner. And he said that they probably could. So this is going to continue to be discussed and everyone's feedback is welcome. So, I mean, this is something where
Well, the
Wha-
thing is that I know, I mean, how do they know that people are not actually using that bridge going up and down? Because in the summertime, you tend to see some people, at least I've had, pass by there or even be over that, so.
they were asked that. They were asked what studies have they done to determine that this change is needed, and they had really nothing. So, I mean, why do they do what they do? I'm not sure. I think Jose said maybe they realize people are crossing anyway, and so they're not using the bridge, so they're gonna make the crossing safer, because that's the assumption. But there was no data provided, like to say numbers of people crossing, so.
We should have that data as well, and they should have a signage.
Just to clarify, we're not against the overall pedestrian improvements. Our one suggestion was to make that a two-way street to help traffic flow, because we do understand that if you look at the top, it was 4 lanes, it's now 2. So there were 4 and now you get 2 flowing in. So you're gonna have 2 lanes. Right now, they even make, in the morning, people get so crazy that they use the bicycle lane as a lane, so there's 3 lanes.
Can I ask that y'all ask about the parking situation? I know you said that they don't have it, that it will be excluded out, but because it's a highly used park and there would be a lot of double park cars, it would be more of a bottleneck, especially during those time frames on the weekends and late nights. If y'all may,
We've brought that to their attention as well. But
okay.
All right, thank you, everyone. This is an ongoing conversation, with the DOT. So we'll continue that. Human Services,
Good evening, everyone. Jewel Jones, Chair of the Human Services Committee. So, I actually did the minutes of the committee. So, it's quite lengthy because I do, try to make sure we incorporate everything that was discussed. 2 things I want to highlight in terms of presentations. We heard from Mount Sinai in terms of their Centers for Occupational Health and Workers' Compensation. Just take a look at the minutes because there's a lot of information provided about that. The second thing I want to highlight is this. The New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene's Pest Control Unit, they have a rat academy. A rat academy, okay? We've asked the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene's Pest Control Unit to have a rat academy presentation in East Harlem. They've agreed to do that. The date that we're saying is June 15th, and we're saying is at El Museo. I don't know if that's confirmed. I believe it's confirmed. Okay, great. In the evening. there will be flyers sent out from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene about the RAD Academy. You should all come out to that. The presentation spoke about the fact that there are a lot of four-legged creatures running in and around East Harlem, and especially as it relates to the Second Avenue construction and other factors involved. So, and also, East Harlem has been identified as one of the areas where rats are a problem. So we should all try to come out for that Rat Academy presentation. Yes. Did your hand up for? Oh. Thank you, Malik, though. And then under old business, the committee was tasked with looking at the moratorium that was approved in 2022. Specifically, it's a moratorium on the siting and expansion of substance use treatment facilities within Manhattan Community District 11. That was in 2023. It was approved then. The committee was tasked with looking at that document because of the fact that the moratorium was in effect for 1 year. That was in 2022. The committee has revised the moratorium in the following manner. We are saying that the moratorium is in effect indefinitely. We also revised the moratorium to have a better definition of these facilities. So we defined it as entities, well, pretty much entities under the purview of the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Supports, also known as OASIS. And this document specifies that the moratorium as an immediate and indefinite moratorium on the sitting of any new substance use treatment facilities as defined herein within Manhattan Community District 11, and any expansion of service capacity at existing substance use treatment facilities as defined herein within Manhattan Community District 11. There was a motion made to adopt the revised moratorium on the siting of any new drug treatment, rehabilitation, chemical dependency, or treatment centers within Manhattan Community District 11. That was made by Chancellor Gregg, and it was seconded by Leslie Colon and passed unanimously. That was the motion that was made. Any questions?
Okay, Christina and then Beverly.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Because you gotta
you were gonna-
answer the question.
All right. Who's? Hello, Christina. How are you?
Um, do we know how many drug treatment facilities there are in East Harlem?
We have some data that's contained in the moratorium document in terms of like the facilities. But as part of the moratorium, we do want a comprehensive list from OASIS in terms of the number. And that's the concern, because this all came about due to what's called fair share, to make sure that there's fair share in terms of facilities within the city. So we're saying that East Harlem is overburdened as it relates to these things. We're not saying there's anything wrong with these facilities per se, but that there should be a fair share of these things cited within the city. And then we do need the numbers, and that's part of our task as part of the moratorium. There's
Thank you, Jewel. My question is regarding the RAD Academy. I know the city is talking about putting those big bends in the, you know, in other areas besides Upper Manhattan. So I'm hoping that you're advocating strongly for that because we definitely need that. Thank you.
Don't get me started on this type of stuff, because one of the things that was discussed was the fact that in Sean Abreu, I think that's CB9, he's spearheading containerization, and it's working out fabulously. And as we heard the mayor say, that's one of he talked about containerization, and that should be within East Harlem, because actually, if you go to open data and you look up and you plug in like trash bins, and there's something called open data, you plug in trash bins, there's a bunch of sightings. There's a lot of sightings east of 96th Street of trash bins. North of 96th Street, you don't see a lot. And that's a matter of equity, you know. So we're lacking trash bins, but just generally speaking, containerization is what we should be moving towards. Yes.
Speaking of these new trash cans, right? Will NYCHA developments, because we have a lot of them in East Harlem, will they also be eligible for these new trash baskets?
So I'm not sure about that specifically, since NYCHA is, you know, so I don't know. Yeah, but that's something we'll look into. Yes.
All right,
Yeah, well,
I do have a question,
Oh.
about the moratorium. Was the definition of a substance abuse treatment facility, was that changed between the first meeting where there was, the committee kind of agreed in principle to this meeting? If I could remember wrong, or maybe I wasn't at that meeting, I was sick, that we had narrowed that down to not be basically covering every substance abuse disorder service, that there was therapy and this and that was not going to be included. It was focus specifically on like methadone clinics or like on-point type facilities. This seems to go well above that. So I believe that was a change, and I'm wondering why.
I'm sorry, a lot of what you said I was not getting.
Okay, so I believe now it reads that substance abuse treatment facilities shall include any program, clinic, or site licensed and or certified by the New York State Office of Addiction Services and Support, OASIS, to provide detoxification, residential treatment, outpatient treatment, medications for opioid use disorder, overdose prevention, or any other substance abuse disorder service. I think the concern is that sentence covers everything. And I think we had been narrowed it down to more specific types of facilities that this moratorium was meant to cover.
So if you're asking so if you're talking about specific entities within East Harlem, and are you asking if they're covered under the moratorium? Is that the question? Such as an on point?
Well, no, what I'm saying is, I believe that and I mean, there are committee members as well. If I'm remembering this incorrectly, this moratorium was discussed about to be put back in effect for things such as methadone clinics, opioid treatment centers, facilities such as On Point. But this seems to now touch on counseling, therapy.
Okay.
And so I thought that we were narrowing it down to not include those services as well.
I just saying. So I think to sum up what you're asking about is entities under the purview of New York of OASIS. And that's what it boils down to. We did explore defining what these types of facilities are, but the bottom line is, if it's under the purview of OASIS, then it's covered.
Okay, Nye?
I just had a quick question about the Rat Academy. Will it be the same presentation that they did last year? And will it also cover the law that was rolled out in May 2023?
Say the date again. Was it last year? The date of the presentation? Yeah, it covers all that. It does cover that. And the actual presentation itself is on the Airtable. under human services. So if you talking about that, or, because if it's that, then that's what was covered. And in terms of the Rat Academy itself, yeah, because there was a lot of questions asked or specific questions that we want of the Rat Academy as it relates to East Harlem. And I believe they understood what our concerns were. And when they have the Rat Academy presentation, they're going to focus on something, especially as I said, in terms of like the Second Avenue subway. And then they did talk about the number of parks that we have, and even like NYCHA properties in terms of like residential properties. So they know that they need to focus on East Harlem and the needs of East Harlem in terms of their presentation. Thank you. Nye?
Thank you. And thank you to the committee for all of their work. I just wanted to circle back to give some context, Chair, to your question. So I was chair of that committee when the moratorium was first passed, and it was a heavy lift. At that point in time, we were very concerned because of the pandemic. We had a lot of open lots, and a lot of business owners and building owners were doing kind of side rentals to supplement their incomes and these vacant spaces by partnering with not just Oasis, but other organizations that were providing services to support these communities in need. And one of the intents of the language was actually to force communication from Oasis to CB11 on who these organizations are, who they're partnering with, what they're providing, what are the services, and what is the benefit to our constituents, so that we had further information to drive the whole fair share model. And so I think the reason why the language was so broad is because there were therapy in one space and the adjacent space might be doing something else in the same venue of the same building owner or a different LLC, but really the same people. And so it was really a tool that we were using to really start to apply some pressure to Oasis to actually clearly define what are the services that are being provided in our community, and is it fairly distributed with CB11 to other places that have residents in need.
Thank you, Nye. Just full transparency, when the committee says they were tasked with this, they were tasked by me. So I'm fully aware, and I did think this needed to be considered, mainly because it expired and had been voted in overwhelmingly by the board, and the board was given no additional opportunity to comment if they wanted it. Only reason I asked that question was not even about my personal opinion, it was just that it did seem to change the definition. But I not saying there's an issue. There may have been another discussion regarding that. I just wanted clarity. Nilsa, last question, so then we'll go into a vote on this.
Hi, Jewel. Thank everyone for their work. I'm just curious, I know we know Oasis, but has anybody talked about the SAMHSA cuts and restructuring? Those are the federal grants that are given for substance abuse and treatment. I'm not sure how many organizations in this community may get SAMHSA funding. But because we're being so specific, like with Oasis, it's something to consider, not to adjust your, your moratorium the way it's discussed now, but something to keep on your radar, because you may start seeing one cuts and programs coming here, but you may also want to find out if there are programs that don't, go through Oasis, but are, just federally subsidized.
Excellent point. And I think on our radar are the the myriad of facilities. Yeah, oh yes, under that, yeah, that we'll be looking into as part of this.
Okay, Beverly, then Jen, and then don't raise your hand because I won't entertain it.
Thank you, Chair. My question is regarding the entities that's under Oasis. Would the supportive houses also be a part of this? Because they do have supportive houses that has that's just for people with substance abuse and stuff like that, and they have facility within that facility treatment centers and stuff. So would that also be effective? Would supportive houses be affected under that also?
Thank you for the question. So yes, and I didn't go through the totality of this moratorium, but I can point out, it's not working. Okay, under number 3, wait, it says require that all ACES authorized facilities located within CB11, that's what we're talking about. So one, any currently, existing facility, if if it expands, if it just, we need to know about that. So any authorized, whatever that facility may provide as a service. Yes. Who was that other person you said?
And then Jen, who's online, has a
Oh.
question. Jen, you're recognized.
Yeah, I had sent an email and also raised concerns during the meeting, and I think I'm one of the only people in the committee that was also in the committee when this was initially proposed. But I just want to make it clear that I at least think that by saying Oasis under the purview of Oasis, we're missing a lot of organizations and then including a lot of organizations that is not at the heart of what we want to be doing. So Oasis does have licensing and certifications with different organizations, even if a very small section of what they do is to treat people with substance use disorder, or if they just happen to be licensed to do that in case one person walks through their door with that. So that includes, services for the underserved. It includes just a wide variety of services that I don't think is at the heart of what we want. It also excludes some. So safe injection sites, since that's a legal gray area, they are not licensed by Oasis. So this is not, the moratorium is not applying to something like a safe injection site being implemented in the district. So I'm online and I do not have I'm not able to vote today, but I would be voting no on this, and I would kind of encourage maybe a closer look at the definition as it is written.
Yeah, I think this question was asked during the committee meeting and was answered. And it actually was just answered here when we talk about entities other than Oasis that the committee is tasked with looking at. So again, I believe that was asked and answered at the committee level. But thanks for.
I mean, is that in the moratorium though?
I don't want to make this a back and forth. I understand that there are differing positions about this. What I will say is this: we'll take a vote. The idea that when we vote on something, it's in stone is not the case. The committee can revisit this at any time and amend it and bring it back to the board. So is it a perfect document? No, but it's a living document, meaning it can be changed. And I do want to recognize the work that the committee's done. So with that said, Jewel, do you have anything else to say?
Do I have anything else?
Before I'm going to go into the vote on the moratorium.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the last 2 items at the committee level, we were under new business, we were provided with a document from about cooling towers. I'll just say that, and the committee will look into that. And also, when you talked about the city-run grocery, we did touch upon that at the committee level. I mean, that touches upon all different committees, but we did touch upon that at the Human Service Committee level. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with that said, I'm going to read them. We're not going to need a second or anything. Malik? Oh, well, I got to go through the process. Yeah, I know, but I'm not the one slowing it down. We all have questions. So I'm going to read the motion into the record, and then we'll see if any comments, and we'll go to a vote. So a motion to adopt a revised moratorium on the siting of any new drug rehabilitation, chemical dependency, or treatment centers within Manhattan Community District 11 was made by Chancellor Gregg, seconded by Leslie Colon, and passed unanimously. Is there any debate on the matter? All right, with that said, then we will go into a vote on the moratorium document as presented in your meeting materials. Angel?
Jose Altamirano. Fernando Alvarez. Adem Brija. Marie Charles. Leslie Colon. Carlos Diaz. Rosa Diaz. Jessica Elliott. David Giordano. Ada Zeri. Ada. Vote. James Gray. John Green.
Aye.
Chancellor Gregg. Keoka Jackson. Christina Johnson. Jewel Jones. James Kemp. Malik McCullough. Nosa Arama. Beverly Pabon. Samantha Pedrero. Tanya Phelps. Asher Rodriguez. Xavier Santiago. Janelle Santilla. Rosso Schuler. Loretta So. Derek Stampone.
No.
Vincent Torres. Vinny Torres. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva. Hilda Vivas Vasquez. Nye Whitaker. Agatha White. The motion carries.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jewel. We'll go to youth and education. Asher?
All right, I'm gonna go as fast as I can, but there was a lot of stuff happening in regards to youth and education within the community this month, so I'm just gonna go down the list. This is in no particular order. There was a autism awareness walk, I'm pretty sure was it last Friday, Christina? It was. Christina reached out to Dr. Christie and we were able to have some students walk in the autism walk held by Eddie Gibbs. Participatory budgeting. The council member, our new council member, Elsie, she has done something different this year that hasn't been done in the past. For those of you who don't know what participatory budgeting is, in the past it was 1 million for the council member gives 1 million to public schools in the district. And it's basically a voting. Anyone 11 years old and up can vote for projects to be funded for your school. So let's say if it was two $500,000 projects that tied, if they both win, if it adds up to 1 million, the school's got it. As many of you know, our council district is spread between the Bronx and East Harlem. So what Elsie did this year was there was $1 million for the Bronx and $1 million for East Harlem. So Elsie also had some poll workers. So we had middle schoolers at Lexington Academy. You probably saw them at the 125th Street Library. They were out in the park, who were basically not just advocating for their project, but advocating for everyone in the community to come and vote on different projects. Vote for the schools. The schools that had projects on the ballot this year was Central Park East High School, new bathrooms, the Lexington Academy, stage renovations, Central Park East 2, upgrade gym heating cooling unit, PS 108, gym flooring renovation, Park East High School, upgrade gym and auditorium heating and cooling unit, PS7. PS7 was also a voting site, which did you have youth workers? I wasn't able to stop. Yes, they had youth workers. So it was amazing to have middle schoolers out there advocating for, and it was really special because it wasn't just their school they were advocating for. Because as many of you know, a lot of our schools are over 100 years old. And we had actually, David and I had we had the head of Manhattan facilities and head of the district facilities come to the two schools that actually were on our capital budget request this year, PS 146, which their electrical needs a major upgrade, and also Lexington Academy with the bathrooms, and they were able to give an estimate to each of the principals. And both of those schools, I'm pretty sure, have new principals who aren't necessarily very sure about how to go about the process to get facilities in there. So we were able to connect them to the proper people and they were able to put in requests. David, am I missing anything? All right, great. At Lexington Academy, we had a Stop the Hate event last Friday. Thank you, Adem, for coming. Thank you, Kiera, for being there. If I'm missing anyone, I'm so sorry. Cordell Claire showed up, which it was nice to have the kids come and talk to her. And for those of you who haven't been to any of these events, I'm a little biased, but Midge Caparosa from Children's Aid, she has been putting on these events for years. She was my teen advisor at one point. And she really does a very good job about listening to what the youth want. And they connected other organizations were there. We had Not Another Child there. And there was a couple of other, I think the city office against hate crimes. And we had a panel which included one of the exonerated 5. So it was awesome for the students to speak to that. Getting to it. Uh, we had not Central Park East, sorry. PS 171 came a couple of months ago to speak about their bathrooms. Those have been, I think, partially funded by Espaillat's office, Assemblymember Espaillat.
Asher,
Not council member, yeah.
I don't want to cut you off, but they're gonna throw us out of here too. So I'm trying to
I
move
know,
forward. Yeah,
it's just everyone else took a lot of time and I want to talk about stuff that's actually happening.
no,
in
no,
the
I
commu-
understand.
I know, I'm trying to speed up, I'm almost done. Okay, sorry. Can I just get like 2 more minutes? All right.
Not 2 more minutes, 30 seconds.
All right. All right. State testing is this week. We spoke a little about opting out, about opt out. If anyone wants the official opt out guidance and has any questions, let me know. AI town hall. Basically, the schools released a guidance on AI, and it was not very good, if that's the common consensus. CEC4, which is a great partner, has an AI town hall tomorrow at 5:30 virtually, and FACE, they're currently in the 45-day comment period. We also had Central come present about their community programs, and we have connected them to a couple of teachers and principals in the district. If you want any more details about what I said, please come find me. But yeah.
Thank you, Asher. I'll take one question if there is. Okay, economic development, please keep it as brief as you can.
Well, let me get my Bible out then. Thank you very much. We'll keep it brief. Mark your calendars, May 8th. We have our job fair, 10 to 2 at Union Settlement. I'd really like to have you come out. I want to say special thanks to Anne Marie, who's been working on it, and all our economic development. Chancellor Greg, a shout out to you because already getting ahead, we had people, I've been out in the field knocking on doors, talking to people, had someone who was looking for a job and got connected within Nitro. Fingers crossed it works out. So that's a big thing we've been working on. Get my notes up. Also, big shout out to Anne Marie, our vice chair. She actually arranged a walkthrough with the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. Dealing with Second Avenue subway businesses. We'll be discussing this more next week at the task force. Thank you very much, Jose. Look forward to sharing that, but please check the minutes. You'll get the information there, but some of the highlights. Business concerns, lack of coordination with the MTA, limited accommodations, infrastructural concerns, business displacement. They also talk about public safety. Please take a walk on Second Avenue. You could literally walk from over here all the way down if you live further south in the district and see the difference. We see it every day. I advise you to do the same. Public safety is a big issue, and they also need business support there. The other bits, we had presentations on the West Harlem Art Fund. That was very helpful. We had some technical difficulties, but when you watch the video, we're going to include in the minutes, you'll get a hyperlink. You can actually see that presentation that'll be included. We also had a presentation, Ready Reentry Workforce Training Program. Aaron Stokes, Mays Grace Foundation for those that are transitioning and reentering the workforce post-prison. So it's something I'd like you to pay attention to. It's a really great tool, and they're actually doing a great service as they integrate into Manhattan, serving our community. And the last bit with our outreach to our community, we have a business resource that we're also going to put up on the website with a QR code when we go door to door to our local businesses to find out what their problems are. I encourage you to participate. This is a private list. It is not to be shared with the public, but is that because it has the owner's personal information in some cases, but it's really to find out on a boots on the ground method of what we need to do to help support our businesses. I want to thank our committee. We'll have our meeting next month. And with that, Chair, I yield back the time.
Thank you. I'll take one question for Xavier, if anyone has any. Okay, Seeing no
Thank you.
questions, thank you, Xavier. We'll go to board oversight. Jose?
As you all know, we're still using the incorrect 4 absences. We're giving everyone 9 months of lead time. So in September, we'll be using the 3 absences, which means everyone here would have had 9 months to gone through this. We've been repeating it, so we're all aware. Angel, could you put that up for grievances? Since we're doing this very quickly, we are doing a little flow chart. It's a logic chart, and basically what this will do is if any member has an issue with another member, we're going to be creating this flow chart that it basically allows you a very easy way of saying how to guide it should you need to do it. It is very, this is just a rough draft. We're going to have a more detailed version for you for next month when we finalize it. We are working very hard for orientation and training. For those that were new, know that it is very difficult first coming into the community board. It's very overwhelming. You're voting right away, and there isn't a lot of time to kind of play catch up. So we are basically going to end the board oversight. We've decided for June to have like a mock trial situation where it's like a mock committee and a mock full board where we will be engaging with the new members that are coming in. And this is also available for any other member that wants to come in, and basically walking them through the process of when they could say, what they can say, how to work. And in the future, we'll probably work to phase 2 toward resolutions. But in the beginning, we would like all the new members to be very comfortable very quickly in regards to how they can engage with the community board and know when they can speak.
I'll take one question for Jose. Okay. We did not have a district needs report. They didn't meet this month, and the chair is not present tonight. So we look forward to their next meeting. That'll conclude the committee reports. We'll now move into old business. Do we have any old business? Okay, we'll go to new business. All right, very quickly. At Borough Board, this would have normally gone to housing, but at Borough Board, the Borough President's office had drafted a template letter for all community boards to piggyback on that letter. Essentially, it's opposition to this proposed HUD rule change that would require every household receiving federally assisted funding to disclose all the residents' immigration status. Essentially, it would be threatening the assistance to any house that was of mixed status. So the letter, the comment is very strongly against asking this proposed rule to not be in at all. Apparently, you want to flood HUD with as many comments as you can because they have to read every single one. So you've all had this shared with you. It would have been on a longer notice, but we had very short notice. The comment has to be in by 11:59 p.m. tonight, believe it or not. That's why I'm asking you all to consider it this evening. As Nilsa mentioned, Jessica Morris very graciously input just the specific information that would apply to our board, the data from our statement of district needs, et cetera. Angel and I reviewed it earlier. We didn't identify any issues with it. So I'd like us to consider taking a motion to submit this comment to HUD as written. The motion could be simply stated like that. If there aren't any questions or comments, then I would look if somebody would want to make a motion. All right, Nilsa, go ahead.
On as written.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Leslie. We'll just do this quickly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Any present not voting? The motion passes. Okay, do we have present not voting, Chancellor? Thank you. Do we have any elected official representatives left here?
One.
Already spoke, yeah. Okay. All right, Luther, you're recognized. Thank you for staying with us.
Oh,
Go
no,
ahead.
My pleasure. Thank you. This has been a great and educational experience. I just wanted to share, make sure you guys know that the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, or just for anyone who doesn't know, I'm Luther D. Isler. I'm the Manhattan District Attorney's East Harlem Community Engagement Coordinator based in the Harlem office on 125th Street. At the state office building. And just really the main thing I wanted to share is that we are or have just awarded $300,000 to our gun violence prevention partners, organizations that have been selected for our grants for this summer. I do not yet know what those, which organizations they are, but I will let you know they will be announced in May. So they've been informed. I don't know all the secrets yet, but I do want you to know what that is. And for those who don't know, what we do is we partner with we set up an RFP for for organizations to apply, where organizations that are creating opportunities to help prevent gun violence by employing and engaging with young people, particularly over the summer. And the thing is, the majority of the money that each organization gets goes back into the pockets of the young people. So it's been a very successful and amazing program. Dr. Aisha Sekou mentioned that we partnered with her in the past several times. I do not know if she's one of the partners again this year, but there's been some really effective partnerships that we've been having to put money in young people's pockets and engage them with organizations that are keeping violence off the streets. So that is our big announcement. And by next month, I'll let you guys know which organizations representing East Harlem, because it is broken down to the 6 communities that we cover, which ones are our partners for this summer based on how the application process went. That is
Thank you,
it for me
Luther.
for
Oh,
tonight.
Thank you, sorry. Do we have any questions? Okay, thank you, Luther, for sticking with us tonight. With that
Thank you.
said, Nelson, you have a question? Yeah, we're gonna go to announcements. I'm gonna take 2 for the sake of time, so Nilsa, and if someone else has one, we'll
I just wanted everyone to know that New York City Housing Connect is undergoing a change. And so please, if you have not gone on a New York City Housing Connect account, please go on and verify your primary email. This system is going to transition into another, I think it's nyc.id or IDNYC, I can't remember exactly. And so this will allow you to be able to log into different services like Access HRA and all that, but also the Housing Connect component. If you don't do that, if you don't check your primary email so that they can send it to you when they transition over, maybe at the end of this month, early next month, the information you currently have in your New York City Housing Housing Connect account will not transfer over when you create a new username and password under New York City ID. So please go on New York City Housing Connect and make sure that your primary email is correct.
thank you, Nilsa. Any questions for Nilsa? All right, if there's one more announcement, I'll take it. Okay, seeing no hands, our next full board meeting is scheduled for May 19th. With that said, Rosa, could you take the roll?
Is it at Arch Care?
No. Okay, it is.
Because
We'll get it on.
I'm a prime advocate for us to eat or have a snack or something at these long meetings. So please help us, District Manager. No. We
Okay, let me take the roll. Please pay
Tight.
attention to your names. Jose Altamirano, Fernando Alvarez, Adem Bria, Marie Charles, absent. Leslie Colon, Carlos Diaz, Thank you. Rosa Diaz is myself, Jessica Elliott. Okay. David Giordano, Ida Gizeri, James Gray, John Green.
Here.
Thank you. Chancellor Greg. Oh, I didn't even know. Wanda Hopkins, absent. Kyoka Jackson. Thank you. Christina Johnson. Joel Jones. James Kempt. Thank you. Sage Mason, absent. Malik McCulloch. Jennifer Mayer. Absent. Jessica Morris. Absent. Nilsa Orama. Thank you. Beverly Pabon. Thank you. Samantha Pedreiro. Thank you. Tanya Phelps. Thank you. Valerie Ponte. Absent. Asher Rodriguez. Asher Rodriguez. Absent. Don Sanders. Absent. Xavier Santiago. Thank you. Janal Satija. Janal Satija. I can barely hear you guys, sorry. Russell Schuller. Got you. Loretta So. Derek Stampone. Vincent Torres. Vincent Torres. Anne-Marie Vasquez. Jason Villanueva. Thank you. Cande Vives Vasquez. Thank you. Nye Whitaker. Agatha White. Thank you. Asher Rodriguez. Thank you.